Call to order this public meeting at 5:05 p.m. And good evening, everybody. It is 5:05 p.m. and I call to public meeting to order. I want to thank everyone who is joining us this evening. I would like to announce that Trustee Area 2 Gladys A. Tapper was sworn in the prior to the beginning of the meeting. Now, if you want to make a public comment on the items listed under closed session agenda, please listen carefully to the directions provided by the clerk at the opening of each item. Mrs. Elizondo.
Public hearing for visitors who wish to address the board on closed session items. 15 minutes of this portion of the meeting are reserved for members of the public to address the board on closed session items. Speakers seeking to comment on other items are requested to make those comments during the public comment portion of the meeting at 6:30 p.m. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. The school board is prohibited by law from taking action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda, and no adverse conclusion should be drawn if the school board does not respond to public comment at this time. If you wish to address the board on an item included in this section of the agenda, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. President Salazar, we do not have participants who wish to address the board at this time, and we do not have any comments submitted in writing for this portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Do we have comments submitted in writing in the portion of the meeting?
President Salazar, we do not have comments submitted in writing for this portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing none or seeing no others, hearing none or hearing no others, I close the public hearing and I adjourn to a closed session, discuss items 1A through 1D. The board will reconvene at the conclusion of closed session. Good evening. It is, what is it, 6:56, and I call this regular meeting to order. Welcome to tonight's board meeting. I want to welcome and everyone joining us through Zoom. If you want to make a public comment, please listen carefully to the directions provided by the clerk at the opening of each public comment period during the meeting. Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar and Clerk Cortez, members of the board and staff and members of the public out in Zoom land, I'd like to remind you of our vision and our mission this evening. Our vision states that Madera Unified will set the standard for hard work, creativity, and resiliency with a fearless drive to continuously improve. And our mission states that we are committed to creating and sustaining a culture enabling Madera Unified students to experience an unparalleled educational journey that is intellectually, socially, and personally transformative. That's the nature of our work this evening.
Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. At this time, I ask everyone joining the meeting to please silence any other electronic devices that are not limited to this meeting. Ms. Elizondo, please call roll.
Trustee Guillen.
Here.
Here, sorry. Trustee Santos.
Here.
Trustee Ahmad.
Here.
Trustee Cortez.
Here.
Trustee Dybert.
Here.
Trustee Fleek.
Here.
Trustee Seibert.
Here.
Clerk Mendoza. And President Salazar.
Here. Tonight's schedule invocation will be provided by Pastor Tim Echeverria of Remnant Ministries of Madera. Pastor Echeverria.
Good evening, Madera Unified and Superintendent Lyle and the Board of Trustees. Just want to say I'm honored to be here today. We're just going to bow our heads today and just want to say thank you just for the honor of praying with all of you. Heavenly Father, we just come before you, God, right now in the mighty name of Jesus, God. Father, we thank you for this amazing day that you have made, God. And Father, just like your word says, that we'll always rejoice and be glad in it, God. Father, we lift up our trustees today, God. We lift up Superintendent Mr. Lyle, Lord God. We lift up, Father, all the decisions, God, and everything that would be spoken about today, God. We pray that you would govern our speech, God. We pray, God, that you would just begin to be honored, God. We ask you for your wisdom, for your strength, Father God, and we invite you right now in the name of Jesus into this whole meeting, Lord. We pray, God, that you would be magnified and glorified. And I pray just for wisdom, God, for every one of our trustees. I pray for your presence on them. I pray over their families for protection, God. And also, God, I pray, God, that you just bring your favor upon them, Lord. We thank you, Lord. And I pray, God, as they begin to just look at all of our students, God, and our school district, Lord God, that you would be with them, that you would help them, and you would guide them, Lord. We love you and we thank you, Lord. And we give you all the glory, God. Lead us tonight, God. And we thank you, God, that you're involved in everything we do. And in the name of Jesus, Lord, we pray. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Escavarian.
Thank
Item
you.
number 4, closed session reportable actions. Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, we do have one reportable action tonight from closed session. In closed session on January 24th, the board, 2023, the board took action to reject a government claim submitted by Anna Carrillo pursuant to Government Code Section 912.6. The roll call vote was as follows: 6 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent.
Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Item number 5, adoption of agenda. Mrs. Elizondo.
Actions to add or delete items from any portion of the agenda or to discuss any consent agenda items must be taken prior to adoption of the agenda.
Superintendent Lyle, does staff have items to add or remove from the agenda?
President Salazar, we do not this evening, ma'am.
Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Trustees, do you have items to add or delete from the agenda? I will start with Trustee Aguirre.
Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, members of the board. Oh, sorry. No.
Trustee Santos,
No, ma'am.
Trustee Ahmad, Trustee Dybert,
No.
Trustee Fleek,
No.
Trustee Seibert,
No.
Clerk Cortez.
No.
Trustees, do you have a motion? Trustees, do you have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda as presented or with the modifications noted? Please state your name and when you make the motion or second the motion.
President Salazar, Trustee Diber, I motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Do you have a second? Ahmad? It has been moved by Trustee Dybert and second by Trustee Ahmad to adopt the agenda as presented. Mrs. Elizondo, please pull the board for the record.
Trustee Guillen,
Yes.
Trustee Santos,
Yes.
Trustee Ahmad,
Yes.
Trustee Dybert,
Yes.
Trustee Fleek,
Yes.
Trustee Seibert,
Yes.
Clerk Cortez,
Yes.
President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar, I counted 8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent. 2 of the 8 votes were preferential.
Thank you, Mrs. Elizondo. Item number 6, Student Board Representative Report. We have Swat Talaha of Madera High School and Meliani Miranda of Torres High. I invite Swat Taha to present the Madera High School Student Board Representative Report.
All right, thank you. Good evening, Board of Trustees, President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, Superintendent Lyle, and members of the public. I hope everyone is doing well. Today I'll be presenting the Coyote column, which will be a brief summary of all the activities and events we've had from the end of December up until now. Next slide, please. Before we went off to winter break, we hosted a dinner to recognize our hardworking staff. Food was catered and served to our staff, as well as a sweet chocolate and caramel-covered apple for dessert. Members of our staff were given awards to recognize their contribution to Madera High School and also played games and raffles to earn some prizes. We overall just want to show our staff just how much we appreciate them. Next slide, please. The Madera High School basketball program started up their annual Little Coyotes basketball program for girls and boys K through 6th grade. Madera High School basketball coaches and players coach the Little Coyotes and host 6 one-hour sessions on Saturdays to teach them the fundamentals of basketball. I also want to shout out seniors Nathan Galicia and Solomon Reyes for placing first in their weight divisions in the West Side Varsity Wrestling Tournament hosted at Fireball. Next slide, please. We recently held our Coyote Preview, in which we welcomed incoming 9th graders onto our campus to learn about the different CTE pathways and sports we offer at Madera High School and gave them the opportunity to take a look at what it is like to be a high school student. Link crew leaders gave them a tour of our campus and led individual groups through the presentations prepared by each pathway. Our CTE pathway students greeted the incoming 9th graders with information about their pathway and helpful tips for starting high school. Next slide, please. Recently, our theater program took a field trip to the Soroyan Theater in Fresno to watch the Broadway musical Dear Evan Hansen. The musical addresses issues such as peer pressure, bullying, suicide, and depression. It was a great learning experience for the students and a very entertaining show overall. Next slide, please. Madera High School is currently holding their Stafflety competition, in which our staff are split into 2 teams, one being the silver team and the other being the blue team, led by teachers on our campus. The teams compete against each other by showing the most school spirit. Attending sports games, wearing Coyote Blue, and taking part in dress-up days earns points for each team, and the winning team members are entered into a drawing to win a sweet prize. Next slide, please. Yesterday, our Public Safety Academy students had the opportunity to do their routine physical training with an Armed Forces recruiter Staff Sergeant Rossi. They did multiple rigorous workouts to build their strength and stamina to prepare them for their future careers with the leadership of Sergeant Rossi.
Hello, are you there?
Conversations with our students concerning future education and career plans, as well as promote college and the military to our students. Staff members who participate can even earn points for their teams in the staff competition. Next slide, please. Now I'd like to ask if everyone could take a moment to look at our upcoming events. Next slide, please. That is all. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Mrs. Taha. Next, I invite Melanie Miranda to present the Torres High School student representative.
Good evening, Madera Unified School District Board President Salazar, Clerk Mendoza, and members of the board. I'm Melanie Miranda here with the Toro Report. Next slide, please. During finals week, our host, the Health and Wellness Committee, hosted their first annual Stress Relief Week. Each day, they hosted activities to help Torres students de-stress as we prepared for finals. Activities included stress ball crafting, bracelet making, and letter writing. It was a great way to end the semester. Next slide, please. Our CTE Culinary Arts program is in full swing. Our Toro Cafe opened its doors for the first time at the end of the first semester. The Toro Cafe is a student-run business, giving students experience in what it takes to run a full-functioning restaurant. Each month, students develop a menu, take orders, prepare and serve food for our Toro staff in our restaurant space. Next slide, please. Thanks in part to the Community Schools Grant, our Toro staff kicked off the semester by participating in a Learning for Living staff training. They were able to learn the importance of relationship building not only with students, but also between staff members. It was a fun morning of team building and staff connection for all. Next slide, please. To kick off the semester, ASB decided to show some love to our fellow Toro students by giving away free hot chocolate. We're excited to serve our student body this semester and find ways to help them feel appreciated and connected as we close out the school year. Next slide, please. When we returned from break, Fresno State Bulldog Beat joined us for our day of recruitment for our band and choir students. They performed some of their iconic prep band numbers and shared about all of the great things the music program at Fresno State has to offer. Next slide, please. Just last week, we had the pleasure of welcoming the class of 2027 to our Toro family. Students had the opportunity to participate in their first high school rally and learn about all our activities and athletic programs, as well as our CTE, VAPA, and elective courses. They even have the chance to tour our beautiful campus. We can't wait to have them join us this fall. Next slide, please. This past Saturday, 6 students from our Toro Choir performed with the FMCMEA Honor Choir for the first time in school history, and all 6 students were awarded $2,000 scholarships to Fresno Pacific University. We're incredibly proud of our Toro vocal music program. Next slide, please. Over the weekend, our Taurus cheer and dance program traveled to Buchanan High School to participate in the CIF Central Section Championship. Our Taurus dance team took second place for Division 4, a historic moment for our growing program. Next slide, please. This week, 45 Taurus students and staff members participated in our second round of Safe School Ambassador training. The training focused on building a more safe and welcoming school environment where students stand up to bullying and work to de-escalate problem behaviors where they see them. Next slide, please. Taurus ASB is partnering with Dream Dress Closet to host a winter formal dress-up pop-up shop for students that cannot afford to purchase a formal dress this year. The past few days, we have been working to transform our student store into a dress boutique, where students can stop by to check out the different dresses we have to offer. If you see someone or know someone who is interested in adding a gently used dress to our collection, contact our activities director to donate. Next slide, please. Here are upcoming events. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Miranda. Number 7, Student Board Member Information Report. Trustee Guillen, I invite you to share with your fellow trustees information or reports you would like to share in your role as student board member. Trustee Guillen?
Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, members of the board, superintendent, and distinguished guests. Every Wednesday in our 4th period, we get to see a video of diverse backgrounds. For example, this month, we're celebrating the Asian Heritage Month, where we get to learn important facts about what they did in their past. I enjoy when we include diversity and explore different cultures in our campus. I can't wait to learn more about different cultures throughout the semester. We learned more about the migrant families at the Student Champion Day too. I liked when they interviewed students who actually attended my school and got their feedback. I enjoyed attending the Student Champion Day too because I, as a student, come from immigrant parents and I related to majority of the videos they showed. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Guillen. Trustee Santos, I invite you to share with your fellow trustees information or reports you would like to share in your role as student board member. Trustee Santos?
Good evening, Superintendent Lyle, President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, and members of the board. I want to give an update on Deputy Superintendent Schwartz. His department has already developed a construction plan to construct Furman's covered patio and will create a newsletter for the board. This afternoon, I spoke with Director Karen Diorian, Director Lawrence Fernandez, and Executive Director Prince Marshall about how we can reboot the Stop It app and how we student trustees will lead this campaign. Additionally, I visited all ed schools on January 18, 2023, and we further discussed their concerns and initiatives. Lastly, I attended the Student Champion Day 2, January 10, 2023, which focused on ways to assist students that came from migrant families by providing them with the resources that they need to assist their children further to graduate in high school and college. This concludes my information and report for Alt Ed. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Santos. Number 8, communication. Item number 8.1, the Madera minutes.
President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, and members of the board, I invite you to watch a video of some highlights for our outstanding activities since we last convened, and there have been too many for one video.
We are kicking off this Madera Minutes with a look at some of last year's special holiday events. After a 2-year pause due to the pandemic, Madera Unified Annual Pancake Breakfast returned last month to Cesar Chavez Elementary School to serve some holiday cheer. Since 2006, the one-day morning event has brought parents and community members to the school, where staff work alongside their students to cook thousands of delicious pancakes. The event was made possible thanks to generous donations from members of the community. In the Central California Women's Facility in Chowchilla spread some Christmas cheer to Dixieland Elementary students. The students at the school received the opportunity to participate in a raffle where 20 lucky winners were selected to receive a brand new bicycle. Students at Lincoln Elementary ended the year on an exciting note after participating in a jogathon for the top earning students. But the fun did not end there, as top earners received the opportunity of a lifetime to slime their principal, Mrs. Royston.
Here I am at the end of what I think was a very fun time for all. Our STEM teacher actually made the slime for us, and so all of our students, TK through 6th grade, got to come out and douse me with a huge bucket of slime. And we are so grateful for our Lincoln community. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to do fun events like this, right? It's all about the Lincoln way.
And what better way to end 2022 and start 2023 than by making history? Last month, 4 Madera Unified trustees were sworn in, and for the first time in MUSD history, 3 of the 7 board members are women. This was made possible when Gladys Dybert was elected in November. In other notes, several MUSD students took some time out of their winter break to join the district's school resource officers, the Madera Police Department, Pistarossi Ambulance, and CAL FIRE as they conducted active shooter training at Matilda Torres High School.
Like I said in the past, these are people's children, and Madera Unified takes great pride in providing them a safe learning environment. But also on top of that is the fact that, how can we better prepare? And part of better preparing is through training.
The training aimed to better prepare the MUSD community and first responders in case of a school shooting. This winter break, Madera Unified offered for the first time a unique hands-on engaging learning experience for its TK through 8th grade students. Students received the opportunity to participate in classes that taught them about science, technology, engineering, mathematics, robotics, and more.
And so we're really looking for our students to engage in a learning process, but have a fun time and really have a good time, work with others, and just get that social interaction and work on rebuilding some of our social skills.
MUSD partnered with several groups to enhance the winter experience, and as a way to get the district high school students involved, WorkEd hired 40 students to work as teacher assistants during the winter session.
I think it's like a great opportunity for high school students to get into learning how to fill out their work permit and getting into getting their first job,
Madera Unified employees demonstrated how much of a student champion they are, as more than 2,500 employees attended the second Student Champion course this month. The course touched upon English learner students and how everyone in the district can help make students feel welcome. And as a way to better connect with the Madera community, attendees heard from first-time home producer Dr. Seth Holmes and Madera Unified alum, co-directors of the film.
If we're working in education, part of our job is to support each student to pursue anything they want to pursue and not assume that they should be in a certain place because of how they look or because of the kinds of work their parents do or the language their parents speak. That's not fair.
And what better way to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. than to unite as a community? Last week, Madera Unified and Martin Luther King Jr. Local Host Committee hosted an event in honor of MLK Day at Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School.
So it's always good to get together and remind ourselves what his dream was, what we're supposed to be working towards, and to find out have we made it yet.
Keynote speakers for the event were Prince Marshall, Executive Director of Students and Family Support Services for the Madera Unified School District, and Rhonda Vaughn, Lead Safety Officer of Madera South High School. The Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School Choir provided music for the event. Last week, Madera South High School history teachers gave 50 students the opportunity to hear from foreign policy expert Thomas Friedman at the Soroyan Theater in Fresno. During the event, Madera South senior Ode Lang won the Town Hall School Scholarship drawing of $500. And not even the gloomy weather could dim our students as they return from winter break to their campuses this month. From everyone at Madera Unified, we wish them a successful spring semester.
Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Item number 8B, public hearing for visitors who wish to speak on a subject not on the board agenda. Mrs. Elizondo?
15 minutes of this portion of the meeting are reserved for members of the public to address the board on items not listed on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of the school board. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. If the subject is an item on the agenda, the board president has the option of asking the speaker to hold a comment until the item is called. Comments on items listed as a public hearing on the agenda should be held until the hearing is opened. The school board is prohibited by law from taking action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda, and no adverse conclusion should be drawn if the school board does not respond to public comment at this time. If you wish to address the board, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. President Salazar, we do not have any participants who wish to address the board at this time, and we do not have any comments submitted in writing for this portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Mrs. Elizondo. Seeing or hearing no one or others, I close this public hearing. Item number 9, information and reports.
President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, members of the board, and general public, we have with us tonight our Chief Financial Officer, who's in icy white because of the winter. And she's here to transparently share with you our audit findings. So, Ms. Garcia?
Thank you, Superintendent Lyle. Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, and trustees. As every year, we have to do an audit to our prior year, 21-22. And tonight I have with me Bill Williams. He's the auditor from the firm A.D. Bailey that has been an auditor for the last few years. And he's going to help me present this item to you.
Thank you, Relis. Everybody can hear me?
Yes, we could hear you.
Good, perfect. Okay. Well, thank you, Superintendent Lyle, members of the board and district staff and the public for inviting me to come help give you a little bit of Cliff Notes view of your financial statements. It sounded like there are some new board members, so I'll kind of go through a timeline of how the audit's conducted. We come out typically before June. We're actually heading out right now to start doing some site work. Student site visits, ASB attendance testing, the Alta Ed sites as well are tested, and that's all based on our state compliance audit guide that that's published every year. And then we also visit the district office and do some preliminary work and some planning and more state compliance there. Begin our federal compliance testing. The district has to have a federal audit each year, which is referred to as a single audit. And you can imagine with all of the ESSER grants that have been coming in, it has just bombarded us with work because we pretty much have to test every resource that has ESSER money in it. So it's been quite the undertaking the last couple of years, but the money is being used very well in your district and others. It was very much needed. The in-person learning expansions and everything else that's going on, the grants are being targeted to try and catch our students back up. I have 2 of my own that went through COVID and the closures, so we saw the impact as well. Once the district is closed and they complete their unaudited actuals, we come in and audit from there and continue through, finish up our compliance testing, get all the debt lined up. Today, this year, there was a GASB implementation for leases, which was a little bit of an undertaking. It seems like every year there's something new. Didn't really impact the district too much. Next slide, please. So there's 3 opinions in your audit report. There's the first opinion up front, which is basically on your financial statements and just basically stating that those are fairly presented as we have prepared them within the audit report. There is it's referred to as a yellow book opinion in the back of the report. It's the first one in the back. There's actually 4 opinions. And that one is just over financial reporting. There is a federal compliance opinion. Again, we tested all of the ESSER funds. We also tested Title I this year. There were no findings. And then the state compliance is probably 25 state compliance areas we have to look at, the biggest sections being attendance. Independent study was a struggle for everybody in 21-22. The district did very well. We've had independent study blow up on us a lot of districts this year. So it was really, really hard to get that implemented. People just weren't used to dealing with the numbers of students that were in and out and in and out and in and out. It was just too much of an undertaking for a lot of districts, but Madera Unified did a very good job. Next slide, please. So the first section in your report behind the first opinion letter is called the management's discussion and analysis. And if you're a new board member, I'd probably recommend trying to look through this. It's really meant to be a Cliff Notes summary of the rest of your audit report, which is 125 pages long. So there's a lot in there, but this section is about 15, 16 pages. And like I said, it's really meant to be just a Cliff Notes of what your financials ended up during the year. Next slide, please. Okay, so your financial statements follow behind that. The first set of financial statements are your statement of net position and statement of activities. These are entity-wide. So these financial statements are all of the district's funds combined, including your long-term obligations and your fixed assets that are being depreciated like a business. So really, these are your business type looking financial statements for the district. Again, anytime we see net position, that is referring to entity-wide, all of the funds collapsed together, added together, and then all of the fixed assets and long-term debt activity is also reflected there. Behind that, you'll start seeing things that look much more familiar. Your fund financial statements, you'll have your general fund and your other large funds presented. You'll see balance sheets there, income statements, and then all of the smaller funds are grouped together in a non-major fund column. And those are presented in the back of your report. And I have the PDF pages here if you're interested to dig into what those funds, individual funds financials look like. Behind the financials, you have your notes. They just give much more information on the cash and investments, the receivables, the payables, the long-term debt, the fixed assets, ins and outs and additions and deletions. Further back in your report, you have supplementary information schedules that talks about your net pension liability, which is the district's fair share of the STRS and PERS unfunded pension liability. And I'll talk about that more in just a minute here. Next slide, please. So the district's net position was 278 million. The unrestricted was 85.7 million deficit. What's causing that deficit is basically the net pension liability. Because you have a liability with no assets. When you issue bonds, you get something for them, right? You get cash, you spend the cash on fixed assets. So that kind of balances out your debt, but your net OPEB liability is just kind of a hit. The good news was with kind of all the grants coming in and the economy doing better, the state made a pretty substantial contribution into the STRS pension trust this year. So your STRS pension liability, your proportionate share of that smaller balance helped out this year. It was about 35–40% decrease on the STRS side. That unfortunately is considered a gain because the actuaries project what the contributions are going to be. So when the state did that, kind of threw off the projections. So that's actually increasing a type of liability. That's a deferred inflow at the bottom. So that'll ratchet down over the years. It has to be amortized. You just can't take the gain all at once up front. Next slide, please. So the general fund increased about $12 million. We're seeing that everywhere. There's state funds coming in that are fund balance programs. Most federal grants, you don't really see an increase because that money's deferred if it's not spent. So it doesn't hit fund balance. The district's reserves were at 12%, which is great. A little bit of a decrease from last year, but you're supposed to be spending the money right on the students. So the state minimum is 3%. You were well above that. Auditors don't like seeing you at 3% or anywhere near there. So it is, we like where you are. Try to stay there. The ADA has dropped. It has dropped in nearly every one of our client districts across California in 21-22, which is why the state is trying to mitigate the fiscal impact of that by doing some averaging over 3 years and allowing you to bump up if your enrollment participation rates were a little bit different. There's some calculations that Aurelus is burning through, I'm sure, right now, trying to see how things are going to help. But it is helping districts because, like I said, a lot of districts, their ADA has dropped by a good clip over the last at least year and a half. Next slide, please. That was it. That was pretty good. Any questions or comments? The district, once again, did an outstanding job. Your fiscal department did great. You really have to commend the school sites because, like I said earlier, independent study was just a mess everywhere this year. The bigger districts seemed to handle it a little bit better, but we had a few that blew up there too. So outstanding job for the school sites and the administration at the sites to get that taken care of and keep that ADA.
Trustees, do we have any questions? I have a question. Can you repeat about the STRS and liability?
Yeah, so it's called the net pension liability. So as you know, the state pension pool for STRS and PERS is underfunded. Their actuarial projections of what the liability is compared to the assets they're holding, it's underfunded. So what happens is every single year, they take a look at how much did Madera Unified contribute into STRS? How much did you contribute into PERS compared to everybody statewide? And that's a percentage. That percentage is taken from the total STRS and PERS unfunded pension liability, and the district has to recognize a portion of that. So that's basically what that is. It's your fair share based on your contributions into STRS and PERS, and then you have to recognize a part of the unfunded pension liability.
You were saying
And
something.
there's nothing you can do about that. You can't contribute more into it. Some districts have set up STRS trusts, but you know, they're raising the rates. And as long as you're budgeting for those rate increases for STRS and PERS, that's really all the district can do. That one's out of your hands.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Trustees, any questions? Trustees, any other questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Bill Williams,
Yeah.
and everybody, all the board received the package, right? Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Night, guys.
Chairman Garcia and Mr. Bill Williams. Number 9B, union time. At this time, I invite the presidents of the unions to address the board. Mr. Holder, as Muda, President, would you like to address the board?
Good evening, Board President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, Board Members, Superintendent Lyle. Be brief. I went out during the intersession and got over to the 4 sites, MLK and DLR and Pershing and Washington. Spoke to Mrs. Duddy, spoke to Mr. Holman over at MLK. And though that was a very cold and wet week, and perhaps the enrollment didn't reach what the initial numbers had been, it was a very good experience. And in particular, I want to point out the K teachers in the classrooms I got to and the activities that they were doing with the students. Again, it goes back to a position that MUTA's held for over a decade now, which is to build a strong foundation at that K first grade level. And that's what I saw in particular at the K classrooms. Going up the grade levels, there was a lot of activities going on in the tech side, particularly at MLK with some of the programs they were doing. It was, I think, a good start and a great opportunity for the families and students in Madera. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holder. Any other union presidents? Okay. None? Thank you. Another item number 10, superintendent time.
President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, I have a few. Winter camp was a smash success across the community for more than 600 students with incredibly engaging, fun experiences. The first ever experience happened because of the leadership of Coordinator Dudney, Director Gonzalez, and their boss, Assistant Superintendent Sissel. These 3 recruited phenomenal staff and overcame all the first-time obstacles you could imagine, and now on to summer. What could possibly go wrong? I attended the Student Champion course for day 2 on January 10th, and I wanted to thank our presenters for representing the future of Madera Unified and share my appreciation for all those who were deeply engaged and were moved by the stories of our students and their needs. We focused on the way adults and students connect on deeper levels for support and inspiration, and we were able to see a powerful student film of life in Oaxaca. The window into this culture was essential for us to understand our neighbors and our students. We spent a great deal of time understanding the importance of sending intentional signals of inclusion and validation for all students. And the IT staff and the support staff that work so closely with Director Diorian should be commended, and they all collectively exemplified the character of student champions. The community Martin Luther King Jr. celebration on Sunday, January 15th at MLK Middle School was put on by our host committee, and they deserve our gratitude for this longstanding commitment to the memory of Dr. King and his deep belief in the pursuit of integration, equality, poverty relief, and civil rights through nonviolent social action. The combined Jaguar and Stallion Choir provided music for the event, and powerful speeches were made by Madera by students, including Madera's Kanaya Johnson Hatcher. And all of that reaffirmed Dr. King's message for the next generation. Ron Devon and Prince Marshall combined to respectively share the difficulties of the national and community time period we're all experiencing, and how we can look to each other to support and uplift the next generation for a better future. And as we engage in this meeting tonight, a visiting accreditation team from the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, WASC, is busily compiling their findings from a 2-day investigation of Madera South High School. Our high schools go through these visits to achieve accreditation, which validates our academic, behavioral, and cultural evidence for strengths and needs every few years. And they make recommendations, the teams make recommendations that ultimately lead to accreditation for hopefully another 6 years. Principal Steinmetz and his welcoming team did an outstanding job of showcasing Stallion culture and pride. The visiting team was very positive about what they saw, and their feedback will be delivered to staff tomorrow. Their final report and recommendations will be made public in the next few months, and thanks for all the Teamwork Stallions. I want to thank our trustees who visited the WASC accreditation, who visited the Martin Luther King event, and who attended the Student Champion course. It makes a real big difference to staff when they see you there, and I know it was very appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 11, consent agenda. Mrs. Elizondo?
Items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and are acted on by the Board of Trustees in one motion. There is no discussion of these items prior to the board vote unless a member of the board or staff requests specific items be considered and discussed separately and/or removed from the consent agenda prior to the adoption of the agenda. It is understood that the administration recommends approval on all consent items. Each item on the consent agenda approved by the Board of Trustees shall be deemed to have been considered in full and adopted as recommended.
I now open the consent agenda for public comment. Mrs. Elizondo?
If you wish to address the board, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on your screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. President Salazar, we do not have any participants who wish to address the board at this time, and we do not have any comments submitted in writing for this portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing no one, no others come forward, I close public comment. I now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda. State your name when making the motion and when you second the motion.
Trustee Cybert, I move approval of the consent agenda.
Trustee Fleek, I'll second.
It has been moved by Trustee Cybert and second by Trustee Fleek to approve the consent agenda. There is no resolution in the consent agenda. Ms. Elizondo, please pull the board for the record.
Trustee Guillen?
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Santos?
Yes.
Trustee Ahmad?
Yes.
Trustee Dybert?
Yes.
Trustee Fleek?
Yes.
Trustee Cybert?
Yes.
Clerk Cortez?
Yes.
And President Salazar?
Yes.
President Salazar, I counted 8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent. 2 of the 8 votes were preferential.
Thank you, Mrs. Elizondo. At this time, I would like to take this opportunity to thank and acknowledge the following retirees for their service, not only to Madera Unified, but for their service and commitment to the Madera community they serve. Thank you. Shirley Gregory, Principal at Madera Adult School, who will be retiring on June 28, 2023, after 10 years of service. Tina Nigerian, Director of Early Childhood Education, who will be retiring on June 30th, 2023, after 9 years of service. Patricia Allen, Teacher at Dixieland, who will be retiring on June 9th, 2023, after 32 years of service. Superintendent Lau, do you have any administrative announcements?
I do, President Salazar. I'd first like to thank Ms. Allen, Ms. Nigerian, and Ms. Gregory for really making us better over all of those years. A lot of expertise and a lot of time and energy was spent in making us better, and those 3 deserve our gratitude this evening. I'd also like to welcome someone into the ranks of Madera Unified leadership. We have a vice principal recommendation to the board that was affirmed tonight with the last vote. And this final recommendation to the trustees is someone who has worked her entire career to improve the lives of underserved students. She grew up and attended schools in West Fresno and returned to Edison Bethune Charter in the same neighborhoods. She specializes in ELD instruction and teacher support for English language learners and is known for for her balance of being kind, compassionate, and also for being strong and dedicated. Mr. Perez and the proud Monroe Bears got a really good one tonight. So Esmeralda Casillas, come on down. You're the next contestant. There you go.
Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, trustees, Superintendent Lyle, district staff, and community members. I am Esmeralda Casillas, and my guests here with me tonight are my nieces Aizel and Azul Casillas. My daughter Jocelyn wasn't able to join me. She had cheer and she just couldn't miss. My family, who weren't also able to attend but are watching over Zoom. Hi, Mom. First, I want to express my gratitude for the opportunity to serve as vice principal of James Monroe Elementary. This is nothing less than a dream come true that originated in third grade and started to manifest 19 years ago. It has been my career goal to not only lead and serve, but to inspire others to accomplish all they set out to do. I realized that my advances in education were inspired because of specific educators that encouraged me to keep going and work hard. I aspire to do the same for others and to encourage that in spite of difficulties and challenges, you can overcome, having built endurance and perseverance. I want to thank Nicole Guerrero, Selma Gonzalez, and Mercedes Ochoa for believing in me and providing the opportunity to be part of Madera Unified and for all their support. I remember my first feeling a sense of belonging and knowing that I was exactly where I needed to be. In just a short period of time, I have grown to care and love the community of Madera. I also want to thank my family and friends for all their support and prayers. And most importantly, I thank God for guiding me and making a way. Now, I am very excited to work alongside Principal Leonard Perez and continuing the great things at James Monroe. I look forward to meeting the students, parents, and staff of the Monroe community. I believe in being a student champion. I believe in the core values represented in each We Believe statement because they represent my life's work, beliefs, and values. It will be my mission that every student, parent, and staff member feels welcomed, heard, and represented. Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Okay.
Ms. Casillas, it's like you've kind of been here all along, if we're going to be honest. Good luck. I don't think you're going to need it. You have a fantastic staff and they're doing great things.
Thank you.
So good luck to Leonard. So all eyes on you, buddy.
Thank you. Item number 12, old business. 12A, Administrative Support Services request approval to award RFP Q number 102122 for leaseback construction service for King Hussein School project. Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, members of the board. Tonight, we have Director Rosalind Cox here, and this is a really important step forward in the process. And it's a little different than the sequence in the process we've utilized before. We've done this typically a little farther down the road. And this time we've taken some good feedback from our trustees and staff has enacted that. And Director Cox can give you all the details.
Good evening, President Salazar, members of the board, Superintendent Lyle. Before I get into the details, I just want to remind the board of how we've gotten to this point. At the October 11th, 2022 meeting, the board approved the request for proposal and qualifications for leaseback construction services for the King Hussein School project. The RFP queue and the pre-qualification applications were issued on October 21st. We received pre-qualification certifications on November 3rd, we held a mandatory pre-proposal meeting on November 10th. 5 general contractors attended that meeting. It was AMG, Bush, Harris, Mealis, and Turner. Proposals were due on November 30th at 2 p.m. We received proposals from 4 general contractors who attended the pre-proposal meeting, and they were from Bush, Harris, Mealis, and Turner. A screening panel reviewed the proposals using the best value analysis consistent with the RFP, and that included the following criteria. So we had a qualification portion, which was worth 100 points, and there were 6 subcategories within that qualification portion. There was a pre-construction services worth 20 points, a large project experience, 15 points, lease back experience, 15 points, change order rate, 20 points, local outreach, 10 points, and then finally the project team experience, 20 points. So that totaled 100 points for the qualification portion. In some categories, such as pre-construction services, lease back experience, local outreach, and project team experience, those scores were fairly close. But in other categories, such as large project experience and change order rate, the scores were more spread apart. The second portion was the fee proposal, which was worth 100 points. We looked at the general contractor's total fee proposal, which includes their pre-construction fee, plus their general requirements, general condition fee, plus their construction fee. The district awarded points proportionally on the basis of the lowest to highest proposals submitted. So the contractor with the lowest fee received 100 points, and then proportionally lower points were awarded to the higher fee proposal by dividing the lowest fee by each remaining respective fee. For the fee proposal section, the scores were fairly spread apart with a 27-point difference between the lowest fee and the second lowest fee, and then an 8-point difference between the second lowest fee and the third lowest fee. And you can see those scores on your agenda item cover sheet. So for instance, for Harris Construction, their interim score, so again, their interim score is their qualification score plus their fee proposal score. They had 198 points. Bush followed with 149 points, Turner at 128, and then finally Mealis at 72 points. We then had the interview portion, which is worth up to 50 points for the top 3 contractors. And that took place on Monday, December 19th, 2022. The general contractor was asked questions addressing pre-construction services experience and approach, their proposed staffing, the schedule, and local outreach plan for the project. Here, the interview scores were not close, as we ended up only interviewing 1 firm. Turner's interim score was more than a 50-point difference to the first ranked interim score, so the interview points would not make enough of a difference for them. And then Bush, who had the second interim ranked score, elected to not participate in the interview portion. So then the interview scores and the interview scores and the interim scores were then combined to create the final best value score. The proposals were then ranked as follows, and you can also see this on your agenda item cover sheet. Harris had a best value score of 242 points, Bush with 149 points, Turner at 128 points, and then again, Mealis at 72 points. Therefore, staff finds Harris's proposal to be the best value to the district, and we recommend awarding Harris Construction the lease-back construction RFPQ for the new King Hussein School project. By awarding the RFP to Harris, it will now allow pre-construction services to begin during the design phase, which is what we're currently in right now. And again, just to remind the board what pre-construction services are, it entails value engineering, constructability reviews, looking at the schedule and estimating. And then eventually, this means Harris would start construction in early 2024, with school opening in August 2025. As far as the financial impact, the pre-construction services fee is $98,832. The total cost of the project, including the construction fee and all the construction costs, will be determined following DSA approval of the plans and specifications. And then that would go out to bid for the project. So staff will come back to the board requesting approval of the bid price or the guaranteed maximum price at a later date. And that is all I have. And before I forget, I would like to acknowledge we do have representatives from Harris Construction here tonight. Mike Spencer and Mike Marsh and Matt Davies, as well as our the district's construction manager, Darren Klein from Kitchell. So thank you for being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I now open this up for public comment. Mrs. Elizondo?
If you wish to address the board, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. President Salzer, we do not have participants who wish to address the board at this time, and we do not have any comments submitted in writing for this portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing no others come forward, I close public comment. Trustees, do you have any questions for staff? I will start with Trustee Guillen.
No.
Trustee Santos.
No.
Trustee Ahmad. Trustee Dybert.
No, I don't.
Trustee Fleek.
And at this time.
Trustee Seibert. Clerk Cortez.
Just a brief question regarding just the term. I just wanted to see if you can just expand a little bit on what the term value engineering is.
So, and actually, I'll have our construction manager, Darren Klein, if you want to come up, give you a part in this.
Good evening. Value engineering is taking a look at the design as it stands at one point and determining, are there ways that we can bring better value to the project? Sometimes it's looking at, for instance, an air conditioning system, and maybe not always looking to cut costs. That's the typical, most common definition, I guess you should say, of value engineering. But it's also looking at what can we do to make sure for the long term we've got the best value for the project. So it may be looking at a system that maybe upfront cost isn't quite as low, but long-term cost is a savings to the district due to its efficiency or something like that. So it's a process to make sure that not only you're getting a great value, but that you're working towards the budget and refining the design to make sure you're getting within budget.
Makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Thank you. I now entertain a motion and a second to approve item number 12A. Please state your name when you make a motion and second your motion.
Acting Clerk Cortez, and I will motion to approve item 12A1 as stated.
Do you have a second, trustee?
Trustee Seibert, I'll second that.
Thank you. It has been moved by Clerk Cortez and second by Trustee Seibert to approve item 12A1. Ms. Elizondo, please pull the board.
Trustee Guillen,
Yes.
Trustee Santos, Trustee Ahmad,
Yes.
Trustee Dybert,
Yes.
Trustee Fleek,
Yes.
Trustee Seibert,
Yes.
Clerk Cortez,
Yes.
and President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar, I counted 8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent. Sorry, and 2 of the 8 votes were preferentials.
Thank you, Mrs. Elizondo. Now to item 12B, Educational Services. Item 12B1, second reading and request approval of the second CINA new course submissions for the 2023-24 school year. Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, members of the board, we have with us tonight Director Gonzalez, Director McKenna, who have worked hard on these items with their staff and through the Curriculum Council process to bring them to you for our second reading for approval this evening. Ladies.
Good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, members of the board, and Superintendent Lyle. At the December meeting, we brought you the first read of these courses. These are middle school and high school courses. that would be offered for next school year. Tonight, we are back for any additional questions that have surfaced since December, and we will entertain any questions from the board.
Okay, I'll now open this for public comment, Ms. Elizondo.
If you wish to address the board, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. President Salazar, we do not have any participants who wish to address the board at this time, and we do not have any comments submitted in writing for this section of or this item in this meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. See no others, no one or others come forward. I close public comment. Trustees, do you have any questions for staff? I will start with trustee Guillen.
No.
Trustee Santos,
No.
trustee Ahmad,
No.
trustee Dybert,
No.
trustee Fleek,
No.
trustee Seibert,
No.
clerk Cortez.
No.
I don't have no questions. Thank you. It has been moved, oh, sorry. I entertain a motion and a second to approve item 12B1. Please state your name when you make a motion and second the motion.
Trustee Dybert, I move to approve. Sorry, item number 12B1, second reading and request approval of secondary CINA new course submission for the 23-2024 school year.
Do I have a second?
Trustee Fleek, I'll second.
Thank you. It has been moved by trustee Dybert and second by trustee Fleek to approve item 12B1. Mrs. Elizondo, please pull the board.
Trustee Guillen, trustee Santos,
Yes.
trustee Ahmad,
Yes.
trustee Dybert,
Yes.
trustee Fleek,
Yes.
trustee Seibert, clerk Cortez,
Yes.
and President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar, I counted 8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent. 2 of the 8 votes were preferential.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Now we move to item 12B2, final review of request approval of the expanded learning opportunities grant program. Superintendent Leo.
President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, members of the board, we have Assistant Superintendent Charlotte Sissel from Education Services present this item to the board, and I know this is near and dear to her heart.
Good evening, President Salazar, Acting Clerk Cortez, members of the board, Superintendent. Tonight, I am here to ask for a final review and a approval of our expanded learning opportunities program plan. I had the opportunity over the last week or so to meet with almost all of the members of the board, and I appreciate you making time to come in and spend some time going through this, because I feel like we've looked at it a number of times, and since we've done that, we've continued to get updated guidance from the state. So what I'm bringing to you today is, to some of you, going to be a little bit different than what you saw at our last presentation in December. To those of you who I met with, then this is review, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. So next slide, please, Frank. So one important change that happened recently was we had our winter session. So when I brought this to you in December, we didn't have expenditures yet in there for winter session. And so at that time, we had a carryover of about 8.6 million. Since then, we had winter session, and I probably estimated a little bit high. We were in the ballpark of 800,000, but still had some expenditures that hadn't come through. So you'll notice after what we spent initially and our winter session expenditures, we're looking at right now about a $7.6 million amount sitting in our 21-22 budget, What we recently were given guidance on is, and this could change, but as of right now, the state has said any of that money that is not encumbered by June 30th of 2023 will be swept. So we would stand to lose a significant amount of money if we don't have that 7.6 encumbered by June 30th, 2023. The other important and maybe obvious to you to call out is that we have not even touched our 22-23 budget, which is $23.4 million. And if the guidance holds true, it would stand to reason that by June 30th, 2024, if we haven't expended that, that would get swept. So what you'll see tonight is that we've tried to come up with a number of priorities under some very specific points that we've identified as needs in order to run a high quality expanded learning program. So Frank, next slide. This is just a little bit of some general information, but a couple of the initial pieces that we weren't sure about were things like transportation and meals and those requirements. And since we've now run a summer session and a winter session, we've learned a little bit more about some of the specifics. But as a reminder, the foundation of this program or the baseline of this program is that our school district operates on 180-day school year calendar. Those 180 school days, we must provide 9 hours of services for all students in grades TK through 6. That's the minimum requirement. They also require minimally that we provide 30 additional days outside of the 180 school day calendar. And those 30 days also have to provide a minimum of 9 hours of services. Where we hold our sessions, our expanded learning programs, if we are unable, as an example, to hold them at every elementary school in the district, we must provide transportation to and from a child's home school to where we're offering the programs. So transportation is intense for this program, the needs of transportation, and then also child nutrition. We must provide snacks and meals because we have them for 9 hours. So that's sort of some basic information and just a little bit of a reminder. The really important thing is that 180 days, 9 hours, and then an additional 30 days, also 9 hours. The requirements are TK through 6. Any money outside that you have left over, the state wants you to use it to support middle school and high school programs as well.
So Ms. Sissel, did you feel that right now? Did you feel the whole earth, the educational earth move under our feet? Did you feel that? Did
More like
everybody feel that?
The air sucks out of
Because
my lungs every time I say it.
We just became a year-round education provider. Just want everybody to feel the shift that just happened under your feet. So everything that you think you know about maintenance and operations over the summer and how summer school operates and the level of rest and recovery that our teachers and staff and administrators need, all of that that you've known before just changed. So I just want everybody to grapple with that fact for a second and feel that education in California just shifted. There it is.
Thank you. Next slide, Frank. So previously, the former board leadership had asked us to prioritize. And in the prioritization, they wanted us to find a way to align this to our core values and our the expanded learning program standards. So on each of these next few pages, you'll see the core values listed, and then you'll see the program standards listed as well up there. And if there's a check mark next to it, we obviously feel like this is a good alignment. So The first area we're talking about is not really a priority point, it's a requirement. So this is the program management and operational costs. When we originally estimated this, we estimated at about $6 million annually. We've learned that we estimated high, but what we know is we're going to have to hire some more staff for this program. We simply can't operate under the leadership of one coordinator and one director. And I know superintendent gave me credit for winter session. I have to tell you, I did very little. Suzanne Dudney carried the weight of winter session on her shoulders. And I want her to make sure that she receives the acknowledgement and credit for that. She worked tirelessly to do that. And so we're going to be asking for some additional staffing in expanded learning, more on the clerical side and on operational side, so that we just get some more support to run these programs. I don't think it's going to be $6 million worth of staffing, but it will be an increase in staffing. And then, of course, this is going to cover service contracts with outside vendors, transportation, child nutrition, anything that we have to do with participant registration, those types of services that we provide, advertisement, marketing, et cetera. Next slide. So what we call ELOP Priority 1 is the bare minimum expectations of the program. So what you'll see here is this is the expansion of expanded learning programs and services. What that means is what I mentioned a few moments ago. This priority is us ensuring that every elementary K-6, K-8 school has a expanded learning program during the school year that is serving TK through grade 6. So as many of you know, adding transitional kinder and kinder to our after-school program services is new. We piloted that at one of our elementary schools, and starting this semester, we're hiring and getting ready to expand those services to more of our elementary schools. We are also looking at what before school services could look like, but before school provides a little bit greater of a challenge for us. And currently with our after school program, we do meet the 9 hours a day of services. When you count our school day plus what we provide in after school, we meet the 9 hours of services. So you sure can.
On the before school,
Mhm.
you know, the state's come out and told us we can't start school until what, 8:30?
And that's in secondary, that's in the secondary grades, so high school.
How can we do?
Well, this is for the elementary. Like the requirement is TK through 6, and our elementary still starts at 8 a.m. So we could provide services starting at 6:30 in the morning. We could provide services that start at 7 a.m. in the morning, and it would just be before school care, and then students would be dropped off earlier, and then we would provide before school care, and then we would either, most of the time, it's just walking them to their classes or taking them to the class before school. A number of surrounding districts offer before school care. They refer to it as campus club or expanded learning. It's just not something we've offered in Madera up to this point, but it's not out of the question. For us though, if we're looking at meeting the requirements, we are meeting the 180 calendar school day requirements with our school day and what we provide in after school. We do recognize based on parent feedback that we do have parents that would appreciate before school opportunities. So it's not something that's out of the question. In fact, Suzanne had set it as a goal for this year, but it turns out we're going to need a little bit more time to plan and prepare for that, if that's something that the board wishes for us to pursue.
To reach the 9-hour requirement, you add up what you offer in the morning and before school and what you at after school.
So, and your school day counts.
Oh, so not every student, maybe one will take the morning, but not the afternoon. But maybe not get.
That would be a way. And again, every student doesn't have to have 9 hours. We have to offer services. Any other questions? Okay. All right, let's go to priority point number 2. So here is where we've talked about what we need to do to improve our existing facilities to support expanded learning. So one of the greatest challenges that this program brings to us is facilities. Where do we house the children? Where do we house the millions of dollars of supplies and equipment and sports gear and all of the things that we are allowed to expand in this program? One thing at our elementary schools that we really struggle with is having rooms and space to support these programs. And so we've sort of identified 2 areas under priority 2 that we would really like to focus on. First is expanding the existing campus facilities, or even, if possible, adding some new campus facilities to provide classrooms, office space, and storage for after-school program and to support the expanded learning programs. We've specifically left this very general. Many of you saw this plan before and it was a little more specific. The reason we've left it general is because what I shared in December is we're going to have to think through what that would look like, because the state has given some pretty strict guidelines on if you use expanded learning money and you intend to have those facilities open during the regular school day, we would be expected to cost share. So we're going to have to internally think about what's the best way to ensure that we can support these programs on our elementary campuses, but also not build facilities that can't be used except for 2 hours or 3 hours after school and during the summer only.
Ms.
Yes.
Sissel, can you please give an example of what you mean by cost share if we're actually using it during the school day? What does that mean if we were to create, like, say, a space for kids to learn how to dance, which has been
Okay.
something that a lot of board members have talked about over the years that they think is a really essential part of arts and physical education combined in expression. So give us an example. If we wanted to create that dance space, what would that mean if we wanted to use it during the school day for anything at all?
So what the state has said is any space that is built using these funds and is used during the school day, it would be expected that the district would pay approximately 70% of the build. And then we could use expanded learning funds for about 30% of the build. That's sort of been from the state level, their recommendation. It's like a 70-30 split. So what we would like to do is build where we can facilities that would be specific for maybe our after-school program, where we could help with our elementary athletics, which we're going to expand utilizing these funds. Those types of programs happen after school. They can happen on the weekends and obviously on the summer. But if we're going to use the program or use buildings or use any of the equipment, technically what they've said is they recommend a 70-30 split, because you would imagine you'd be using it 180 days during the school day. So we're still working through some of that, because the fact is, right now, we don't have places on the campus at many of our elementary schools. You know, there's just no space to run these programs. And then all of the, again, millions of dollars to be spent to buy supplies, to buy equipment, to really enrich these programs. And then there's no place to put it because we just don't have the space. So we're going to work collaboratively with Deputy Superintendent Schwartz and his team and the state to further ask questions and get clarity on those funds and how they can be used.
Sounds like maybe our new K-8 that we're building we better plan to use 30% of some of that money on doing some little things a little different on this K-8 than we were planning?
Yep,
Yeah, okay.
I tried to get more than 30%. Sandon knows. I was like, maybe we could squeak out a little more, but they publicly said, because myself and Coordinator Dudney she asked questions a lot for me. And we got maybe we should talk not on this webinar in front of everybody in the state. We should talk separately. And essentially it was, if you build all of these, like if you're one of the first districts out of the gate to build a whole bunch of facilities, we're going to audit you. So we just want to be careful that we follow the letter of the law, but we're pushing what the spirit of the legislation is. And for a community like ours, we'd like to get a little bit of leeway on how the spirit of this is intended to be, and that is to enrich and expand programs and services for our students. You'll see number 2 there is, again, this is around elementary athletics. Any of you have been to our elementary schools? The athletic facilities are not fantastic. Even at our middle school, as an example, they're not fantastic. And so we intend to do a lot of improvement on our elementary athletics and provide many more opportunities for students in elementary athletics. And to do that, we need to do something to the facilities at the elementary schools. Now, that one I feel a little more confident on. I mean, if the elementary school kids accidentally run on a track during the school day, or they accidentally play softball or baseball or kickball or that I feel is a little bit more probably amenable by the state. So we do want to do some very nice improvement for all of our elementary schools and our middle schools on their athletic facilities. So that would be priority 2. Anything that I didn't address there for you that you'd like me to address? I'll do my best. All right. So now we come to the third priority, and you'll remember, if you've seen this plan before, we had one that kind of encompassed all facilities. For this, what we did was we went through and took facilities, and that's what we just discussed, priority 2, that is like already our campuses. Priority 3 is, what does it look like to acquire off-campus facilities to support new programs? So there's a list there that is not new. That stayed pretty much the same from the previous 2 iterations of this plan. But the types of off-campus facilities that we would like to think about to support ELOP programs, we would still like some sort of indoor athletic facility, large enough where we can host in the summer camps. Again, we don't always get winter, but when we do, it's like this year, and it's an atmospheric river. And so, we actually had winter this year. And that was one of the things, again, that Coordinator Dudney brought up. She said, we have to provide 9 hours of services in Madera, California. How many of you have been here in July? Because this program will go into July, far into July. If you don't have something available that's not outside in the sun, you're not going to be able to provide and meet the needs of the kids. So we really would like to look at some sort of indoor athletic facility where we could hold summer and winter athletic programs and camps. We're really interested in some sort of arts and trades workshop facility. It would be like a makerspace almost. We would really like to look at somewhere downtown where you might have a wood shop, a metal shop, a scene shop, a ceramic shop, an art shop. But if you imagine like the original concept of a makerspace where you would have maybe 4 to 6 spaces, and we would hire people to come in and teach classes, and students could take classes in the evening. They could take classes on the weekends, and of course, summer classes. The only thing is we can't charge. So like we would hire staff to run those, but they have to be free and available to any Madera Unified student. both Director Gillis and Director McKenna have identified a couple spaces that they might go take a look at that are similar to this type of concept. We still would like to do something for the performing arts, for media arts. Those two spaces could be together, but in a perfect world, we would have more of a performing arts space, and then we could also have like a media arts studio space. One of the things that we keep feeling more and more pressure about that we need is we want to purchase the lighting equipment, sound equipment, and stage equipment that we would own ourselves and be able to accommodate our spring and fall pyramid concerts and shows. Right now, I don't know if Director Gillis is standing back there or sitting behind me or not, but he could tell you that, if we own our own, we don't have to bring a contract forward annually for $80,000 or $90,000 to rent all that equipment, to take it into our gyms, set it up, tear it down, set it up, tear it down. We have our own. We can find a location. I might know somebody at the fairgrounds, like that could be a possible location we could look at, where you set it up once and you have your concerts. Yeah, you're not setting up, tearing down. So we know that there's some logistic issues as far as where would that be stored, who would put it up and take it down. In core staffing, you're going to see some technician positions coming forward. So in this case, we're going to have lighting technicians, sound technicians. Those people would be trained on how to set this equipment up, take it down. They would be the ones that would be responsible for doing that. And then lastly, and a couple board members have strong feelings about this and think it's a great idea, as they've shared that with me, is some sort of outdoor education, recreation camp. Again, kind of, a burr under my saddle. They say that you can't buy a 6th grade camp as an example because that's a core program. And I said, but have you been to Madera, California? Like, our kids don't all get to go to 6th grade camp. We literally just 2 or 3 years ago made that, but that was the board's action to ensure that all of our kids get to go to 6th grade camp. But we would have to be, we'd have to be very thoughtful about how we would, if we made it a 6th grade camp, again, it's a cost share. So the amount of time it's used for 6th grade camp could not be used, or we couldn't use ELOP funds. But for what's that? Okay. So we could host camps, field trips, retreats, conferences, meetings, things like that. And we would still probably put spring break there. We would just have to get, we'd have to be thoughtful about how we did that.
So I think one of the things that might be helpful for the board to hear and wrap your head around as a general summary of all of this is the state legislature's made some really important additions to our programming in line with the actions we already took. They want us to expand programs. We've been expanding programs. They want us to invest in arts education. We've been investing in arts education. They're asking the state to do things that Madera Unified has been doing since before the pandemic and as a result of the pandemic. And they're doing it because of what we know about students' needs to connect and to feel valued and to be inspired and to be intrinsically motivated to come to school. And whether that's with career technical education or whether that's, through arts and athletics and science and all the fun things that really inspire kids, the state's providing us the opportunity to do those things. And what's challenging is, in so many cases, we're a few steps ahead and that credit doesn't come to us, right? If we were to take, like, say, Ms. Sissel mentioned the 6th grade camp that we asked the trustees to support for all students a year ago. We're in our 2nd year of that with rave reviews. Our kids absolutely love it. And as a result, because we're already doing that, if we wanted to fund something like that, it would be considered supplanting. So in your head, if you're trying to solve this puzzle and well, we could just move this over here and move that over there, the answer is that's an audit finding. No, this has to be new. What we do now has to be new. And even though we were ahead, it doesn't We don't get any credit for that, tragically. But it is validating that we've been on the right track.
Deputy Schwartz.
Yes, I just want the board also to be aware, Rosalind reached out to DSA because really we're questioning, any facilities on campuses have to be Field Act compliant. We weren't quite certain on campus facilities. DSA's directive then if the district owns them, buys them outright, state dollars, they must be Field Act. What that means is, we have sometimes ideas about, hey, let's take this warehouse over here, athletic, outdoor, or an indoor athletic. That would need to be Field Act. And most facilities are not going to be, so they would require some extensive
Retrofit.
retrofitting. Correct.
What could possibly go wrong?
Thank you. Okay. Any questions I can answer on priority 3, or may we move to priority 4?
If you have like an outdoor camp, would there be such, so many restrictions on it? Because you could have like an environmental research camp or a cultural camp.
As long as
Wouldn't
kids weren't
necess-
there during the school day.
Oh.
That's really,
Besides
Yeah.
being a 6th grade camp. Because there's so many things you could do and there's so many needs with our environment.
and there's some people that are going to push the state to back up their audit threats, because we're not the only, every school district in the state is in this same situation. So as we continue to move down this road, we'll continue to ask questions. We're going to continue to push. And I'm going to continue to advocate that Madera, California might be different than other school districts, and what is considered a core program for kids in a certain area is not a core program for kids here. And it is an expansion of the learning for our students where it may not be in other areas. So like I said, the spirit of this legislation is really positive. It's providing opportunities for kids that they won't otherwise have. Like, this is a game changer for Madera Unified. But I think it's really important to continue to push like the spirit of this versus the letter of the legislation, if you will. All right, priority or next slide.
I'm sorry, I had a
Yes.
question. So, so say we do find a facility, we retrofit it and it works out. And so how long are these audits, would they be held for?
There's federal audits annually.
Okay, so we have a building and we can never use it or during regular school hours or anything, ever, hypothetically speaking.
Yeah, we would end up allocating some funds, because what would happen is, say we go, okay, we'll push the envelope, and we get an audit and they show up and they see the facilities being used, they're going to make us pay the money back. So, yeah. Yeah. And 6th grade can't, because it may not be a 70-30. I mean, we would have to look at like the amount of time that it's used during the school day, during the school year. That one might not be a 70-30. Buildings, they kind of said 70-30 would be what would be a good baseline to follow. I mean, no, I shouldn't say that. Just, any other questions? Absolutely. We could go find 10 acres. Yep. We sure could. And I think, I don't know if director is, we know that we're going to have those conversations. Like, it might be a better investment to find the lot we want. And if there is a building there that's old, knock it down and build something else, or go find land and build from there. And we could look out and find a facility that wouldn't be, we're going to have to look at each one of those options. How you acquire the land and what you do with it hasn't seemed to come up. It's just to ensure that it's. Yeah. Okay, priority 4. So this one is very specific, again, to athletics. We've talked about the facility side. We've heard from parents, we've heard from community members that there's a need to somehow bring back what used to be a very robust offering in Madera of youth sports programs. And we just don't have that anymore. We have, unfortunately, really thriving soccer programs. We still have a fledgling Babe Ruth program. We still have some Little League, but nothing like it used to be. And so what we would really like to do is utilize some of this money to enhance and this would really be focused on the younger age students, so that when they get to middle school and high school, we don't have kids that have never played a specific sport. And then when they get to high school, suddenly, we want to start them at a high school age. We'd like to provide the opportunity at a younger age. You guys have seen this list. It's not an exhaustive list. It's not something that we're going to start every one of these programs, next month. We're going to have to be thoughtful about how we roll this out. Some of them are definitely more familiar, right? Like Madera for a long time had a really strong youth football program. Now we don't have one that would align to Madera Unified's expectations. So like some of these are a little easier to get started. Some of them community would look for. Some of them would be new. We've never offered dance as a youth program. If you want to be in dance in Madera, you got to go to one of the dance studios. You got to pay fees for that. If you want to, do certain sports, participate in certain sports that are listed here, the only way you can do it is if you pay out, if your parents are paying out of pocket. And in many of these, they're not even offered in Madera. So this is a big list. We know that it's not something we're going to try to do, and have it ready to go in the fall. We will prioritize those sports. And again, the approval of this plan doesn't mean that you're approving the list in that order. It doesn't mean that we're going to start golf first, then tennis, then swim, then gym, or it doesn't mean we're going to go football and girls flag, baseball, softball. That's just kind of how my mind listed them. And at the request of President Salazar, we did add in the martial arts as an option as well. So some of these are individual sports, some of them are team sports. But we really do want to enhance the athletic programs for our younger students and families in our community, and bring it back to what some of us in this room remember it being like when we were participating in them. Any questions I can answer on priority 4? All right, next slide, Frank. So the last listed priority is one that is also called out in the plan, and that is increasing community partnerships. And I know you guys will all recall the last time we spoke about this, I shared that this is a challenge in Madera. If you're located in Fresno or Clovis, you've got a lot more opportunities to partner with community agencies because there's more resources. Our resource base in Madera is limited. And so Suzanne is working tirelessly to build some relationships and get our foot in the door with some of the Fresno-based organizations. And then in many cases, this is one, in full transparency, this is one of the areas that's really difficult for us because of the lack of community organizations and community partnerships left here. And so when we're asked, like, well, how are you going to do this? This is where it gets a little bit more daunting for us because we're asking our current employees to run these programs versus being able to get community agencies to come in and run programs for us. So this is one we recognize that we need to work on. Suzanne is meeting daily with people from the community and surrounding communities to work on this, but it's also not a secret that there's a lot of money out there, and we're not about just partnering with somebody because we have money. They have to bring us a viable program, a good program, and something that's going to benefit our kids as well. So increasing those community partnerships is a really big part of this work. And where it really benefits us is on those 30 days in the winter and summer. That's really where we need to strengthen those partnerships, to have those people come in and help support those programs when we'd like to allow teachers and classified staff to have time off. And I believe that's it. I'm sorry.
This for 30 days.
Yep.
And so we built facilities that are going to be used for those 30 days. How about the rest of the year?
They can be used on the weekends. They can be used on the other days. They can be used in the nighttime.
How are you going to staff it? I mean,
We're going
beyond
to
the
use,
30 days.
we would use we would have expanded learning funds to staff those. That's why I said we're going to have to staff up. The very first thing when I mentioned about staffing, like as we expand, if we, say we find a beautiful place in the foothills that's for sale and we decide we want to purchase that, we know we'd have to hire a person that's going to live there and they're going to manage that and they're going to be the caretaker. And so that's all part of this. We can use any of these funds to staff any of these facilities. It's just, and again, they would be working on weekends, they'd be working on evenings, they'd be working in the summer. The 30 days is the minimum. We can use the facilities in excess of that. It's just not from 7:45 until 3:15, Monday through Friday during the regular 180 calendar school day is really the spot that they kind of don't want you in.
You probably would want something more local to the foothills so people have access to it.
I just use that as like, if we were going to try to do some sort, like our cross-country teams
Yeah.
go up and run in the mountains and we have, we have principals who would love to take their teacher teams on retreats and, like we've talked about, and camps. I mean, we could still do that. We just are going to have to. So that was the idea of the foothills. Yes. If we're going to build an indoor facility, we're going to build that
Locally.
somewhere close locally that's easy to get to. Yeah.
I had an idea a couple years ago for our construction class. They could build a 1,200-foot square building, little cabins, and you don't need building permits. So you could build little buildings like that you could place somewhere. If you needed it like a camp somewhere.
I don't know
That would
what
give
that
them
does for
something to
Field
build.
Act.
Yeah, we'd have to consider the Field Act, but it's fun to consider the workaround.
Like the tiny
I like
houses,
that
right?
stuff, yeah.
Purchased it,
Yeah, if we own it.
you don't own it.
Well, I appreciate your patience with us on this, and I appreciated all the questions, and hopefully we can move forward tonight with approval, and then understanding that everything in here has to come back as an individual project. So approving this plan doesn't mean you're approving all the projects in there. It just means you're approving the plan and allows us to start investigating and working on individual projects.
I have one question, final question. Is there a timeline for you to present this to the board and when you need to start working on these projects? Like after we approve it, do you have a timeline that you need to submit to the state or?
Tomorrow, no. We have, the timelines run on us making sure that we don't have to give back money. So we have already started investigating some of this. But as soon as the plan is approved, then we can really start the talk of purchasing.
I asked because your first pay with the allocated granted funds, you said you have over 7 million must be spent by June of 2023.
Correct.
So that's just a few months. So we need to move quickly.
But you don't have to spend it,
It
right?
has
It's
to
got to
be
be
encumbered.
committed.
To be encumbered.
Okay,
So we have to,
Have a project approved, and that's where
Yep.
we're gonna spend the money at.
got it.
like, my magic friend back here, she's gonna put it in an account and earmark it for,
Like say, buy a piece of land or something like that.
I think it's important maybe to emphasize for our community partners out there, for our stakeholders and for our trustees, one of the things you didn't hear from Ms. Sissel and we haven't heard from Ms. Dudney is that we want to just use this money to hire a bunch of people to do work for us. That's not what we're talking about. Even when we talk about community partnerships, we're trying to develop those, but develop them at the level of the excellence that we expect of ourselves and to really create a sense of ownership of that excellence for ourselves and our programs and really align those programs to our needs at the end. We want a certain kind of graduate. And we want to do a lot of things that encourage and inspire those future graduates beginning as early as we can in their earliest years in Madera Unified, all the way until their senior year. So one of the things you didn't hear was that we're going to go hire a whole bunch of vendors to do stuff for us. That's not the way we're thinking about this at all.
Okay, now open this for public comment. Ms. Elizondo?
If you wish to address the board, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. President Salazar, we do not have participants who wish to address the board at this time, and we do not have any comments submitted in writing for this section of the agenda.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing no one or others come forward, I close public comment. Trustees, do you have any questions for staff? I will start with trustee Guillen.
No.
Trustee Santos.
No.
Trustee Ahmad.
No.
Trustee Dybert.
No.
Trustee Fleek.
No.
Trustee Seibert.
No.
Clerk Cortez.
No.
No questions for myself. Thank you. I now entertain a motion and a second to approve the item 12B2. Please state your name when you make a motion and second the motion.
Go ahead.
Trustee Ahmad make a motion 12B2 as stated.
And trustee Fleek, I'll second.
It has been moved by trustee Ahmad and second by trustee Fleek to approve the expanded learning opportunities grant program. Program plan. Ms. Elizondo, please pull the board.
Trustee Guillen,
Yes.
Trustee Santos,
Yes.
Trustee Ahmad,
Yes.
Trustee Dybert,
Yes.
Trustee Fleek,
Yes.
Trustee Seibert,
Yes.
Clerk Cortez,
Yes.
and President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar, I counted 8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent. 2 of the 8 votes were preferential.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Item number 13, new business. Item number 13A, administrative and supportive services. Item 13A1, request approval to contract with PBK Architects, Inc. and architectural and engineering services for the Madera High School Memorial Stadium modernization project, phase 2 and 3. Superintendent Lyle.
So President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, members of the board, we have Director Cox here for this item. And I do think it's really important that if you take a look at the items from old business into new business, everything, the approval of the courses, the ELO plan, the RFP, these are huge items which really advance the district forward a great deal. This is one more of those items where we take a really challenging dilemma that has existed for the entirety of Madera Unified's history and make it right. Ms. Cox?
Good evening again, President Salazar, members of the board, Superintendent Lyle. And so to provide some background on this item, at the February 11th, 2020 meeting, the board approved a contract with PBK Architects for architectural and engineering services for the Madera High School varsity softball field project. And that was phase one. Since that time, the softball field project is complete. And if you haven't had a chance to go out there, I encourage you to do so. We're pretty pleased with how it turned out. At the April 27th, 2021 meeting, the board formally approved for future phases, phase 2 and phase 3. And just to remind you what those phases entail, phase 2 includes a new women's field house. So locker rooms, team room, weight room, coaches' offices, snack bar, and restroom. And this building would be located between the new varsity softball field and Memorial Stadium. So it would support both locations, so a joint use, which we'd be happy about. Phase 3 includes improvements at Memorial Stadium. So new home and visitor bleachers, buildings underneath the home side bleachers, so similar to kind of what we're doing over at Torres Stadium, replacement of the track and artificial turf. We also had a facilities workshop back in July of last year, where the board continued to give us the go-ahead for these two phases. And so tonight, staff is recommending to continue to contract with PBK Architects for architectural and engineering services for phase 2 and phase 3, as we've had a good working relationship with them, as they were not only the architects for the Madera High School varsity softball field project, but as well as for MadTech and Rose Elementary School. They have been an excellent partner with us. They are very responsive, they are flexible, they're professional. And PBK has extensive experience with athletic fields and stadiums, not only modernization, but new construction. And so by approving the contract tonight, it will allow us to continue working with PBK Architects on schematic drawings, design development, construction documents and specifications, then taking that to DSA for approval, bidding the project, and then finally construction and completion to modernize Memorial Stadium. Thank you.
Okay. Now open this for public comment, Ms. Elizondo.
If you wish to address the board, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will address speakers from the audience. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. President Salazar, we do not have participants who wish to address the board at this time, and we do not have any comments submitted in writing for this portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing no one or no others come forward, I close public comment. Trustees, do you have any questions for staff? I will start with Trustee Guillen.
No.
Trustee Santos.
No.
Trustee Ahmad.
Yes. How old is this turf, the one we are replacing now?
The turf right now is about 7 years old. And the track is well over, I'd say it's at 12 years old.
That was the lifetime. I mean, for this 7 years only?
The turf currently, it's 7 years old. So by the time we run this project out to bid, it will be at approximately its lifespan.
The new one, how long that will last?
They average about 9 to 10 years.
So why after 7 years we're replacing them?
Like I said, when we take this out to bid, so we're going to be taking the plans to DSA. By the time we actually start this project, the turf system will be about 8.5 years old. So it'll be time to replace it.
Thank you.
Trustee Dybert.
I don't have any questions at this.
Trustee Fleek.
What if we have some suggestions that we've heard from the community, like making, the home side back to the original home side, just, things like
Yeah,
that?
we'd love to hear that. And actually, we're looking at that.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So we would just talk to you
Yes,
or?
we can set up
or
a
Sam?
meeting.
They kind of all believe it. And so we're to the point where they're like, hey, if you want to have a contract, that's fine. So we can have trustees that are on the facilities committee to share those inputs. We can meet with other trustees separately as well.
Thank you.
Athletic Subcommittee,
Athletic
advisory.
advisory. That's kind of where we're at.
Our coaches and teachers would be a part of that. That's our
Correct.
normal way of doing business in the modern conception of the administrative services team. And Rosalind leads that and brings the architects together to hear the practitioners' needs, people who actually live in that space and use it and how they would use it. And so we incorporate as much of the staff's input as possible. And our teachers, it's really fun to go to Torres and get stopped by teachers who will say, hey, I made this recommendation and I see it in the building design. That's what we hope for.
Right. That's crucial for us. That's
It
correct.
is.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't want to see this piecemealed, so I want us to also bring into this conversation a new gymnasium over there and an overcrossing. Because that would be the complete project.
That's in the next.
That's in phase 4.
This, probably wouldn't have them draw it up until we're ready to actually build it. But
Right.
our saving square footages, they know what we want in those. And so that's why it's really on these athletics in there as phase goes into the next.
Yeah.
So we
So-
are bringing in a different architect in.
Yeah, so as you presented this, I didn't see anything in there about, the gymnasium or the overcrossing.
No,
or
not
anything.
yet. But it
it's
would be
gonna
master planned. That phase would be master planned as
It'll
part of
be in
this.
this master plan then.
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay, because.
But right now, we're focusing just on phase 2 and phase 3. Yes.
Anyway, you said, phase 2 and phase 3. The gymnasiums and.
Phase 4.
Well, then what were you doing for also?
We can, but really start everything. And so we're gonna end up having to go back unless we're gonna build in the next.
Well, I want to have a facility meeting, a 5 to 10 year plan. And, we've talked about this before in the last year or so, but we never make any decisions. We need to make some decisions of what we're going to do so we can set money aside and get these projects done. If we don't, I feel like we're just piecemeal on this stadium project. Because you've got to have the gymnasium planned in there because the bleachers are going to be up against the gym. It's going to be all part of a one deal if you do it right. I mean, just like at Torres, I mean, you got your stadium and you've got all your training rooms and everything right underneath it. And so your gymnasium would be right, it's all one piece. I mean, the way I see it.
No, we're happy to adding.
We're gonna have yeah, because you want to take down, you guys have been talking about, you want to take down that girls' gym. Because it's in bad shape and it's not designed right and everything. So you create a gym, all your gyms would be then on the south side of Olive, all your athletic things would be on the south side. And then you can make your improvements that you want to make on Madera High. Now Madera High right now, you're got a what, 2,000 students roughly?
About.
That's correct.
So it's a smaller campus than the other two campuses. You move the gyms over there and all the athletics over there. when you go back in and modernize Madera High School, you could be 2,500 kids over there or more. Because you can be doing 2-story buildings. And now you'd have 3 equal high schools. Instead of 2 big ones and 1 little one.
So I think in part of what I'm hearing, and I think this is what you're saying, Trustee Seibert, is a lot of what we talk about behind the scenes. We really believe that Madera High's staff and students deserve, and I don't like the word deserve. I have a lot of problems with that, right? Because there's a lot of entitlement that comes with that word. But I think that we can do better than the facilities they're in today, and we can set up the future for the next 50 years or more at that school in a really meaningful way that the community, I think, will be really proud of. And I think the students and the alumni would be really pleased to see that happen. Our concept here, as we laid out the phase 2 and 3 part of the project, was the field house and the stadium modernization would be 2 and 3. And then the next part of that would be to always, as we did that, to always preserve and design every aspect of the stadium remodernization, knowing that an event center would come right next to it. That would be next when the funding was present for us to do that. That would be next. And so we, as I understand it from all of our discussions with our subcommittee, with our advisors, with our staff here, that we see the vision that you're laying out. And that's what we want to be able to have formal discussions with PBK to ensure they see it too, and they're building all of that into the plans. So 2 and 3 will happen at the same time, but they will lead right into phase 4. If that's of the board's interest, after approving this tonight, we can quickly go back and add that into, we can amend it tonight and do that now. I mean, that doesn't commit you to funds in the future, to building everything. It commits us to a master plan. And that, I think, gets us into the whole concept of a phased rebuilding of Madera High proper on the north side of Olive. And I think the community would be, absolutely ecstatic to know that we were that aggressive and had that kind of vision.
Yeah, and that's what I want to see, because otherwise things don't get done. You got to have a master plan. You've got to have a goal. You got to have a target you're shooting for. And if we're doing the stadium, the event center is part of that. And I think it should be part of this planning right now. Maybe you can't afford to fund it right now.
Right.
But we know we've got it on the books that we're going to do it, and we can save put money aside, and we'll get it done. We don't do that. You may never get it done. I mean, it might take years, and when you're ready to do it, you don't have the plans, you're not ready to go, and it's postponed even longer.
And I think one of the keys to this as well, I've had at least 7 or 8 conversations with teachers at Madera High in the last year. They will all tell you that although there's some nostalgia for their classrooms, wouldn't it be nice to have academic buildings that were new? And what we've talked about, and I think it's important to surface this, for all of our thousands of viewers out there, to understand that we're trying to create enough athletic space on one side of Olive to create enough space to rebuild academic buildings and repurpose the campus on L Street, north of Olive. And, there'll be some tennis courts maybe, but we've talked about, we could maybe consider tennis courts on the other side of Olive, on the south side. It might not be, we'll have to really scope that out with PBK. Aquatics complex will stay, and probably there'll be a baseball diamond still on the north side of Olive on L Street. But after that, the girls' gym as it exists now, the South Gym, they call it, that could be a good laydown area for future construction. And then eventually, when future construction is done, a really fantastic place to put in parking or whatever the community needs of us. But that gives us options to rebuild the campus.
Okay, well, we're going to have to redo that swimming pool again. We've done it once or twice already. And the last time they did it, they couldn't make it the size they wanted to because there wasn't any room.
Because it was landlocked. That's right. And there's another option.
Okay.
And we have different ideas because he wants the gym next to Memorial Stadium, and I think the gym should stay where it is now and just make it larger because it would be too close to Memorial Stadium. There'd be too much going on. And I know the PE teachers, because I live right there, they use that all the time for basketball, archery. There's always someone out there doing something. So they need that space.
And that would be one of the best reasons why to bring in architects, so we have those conversations with the staff members themselves who have to live it. I think that's exactly what we want to talk about. And I don't hear that we're talking about taking down the Flores gym. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the
We'll never
gym that
talk
nobody
about
wants to
that.
teach in or play in, where walking across the floor is so loud, you can't hear yourself think. You know, that floor is done. So there are things that we know we need to do, but this gets the ball rolling on that decision-making process ultimately, but with a whole lot of input.
Well, can we add a phase 4 then and include all that?
There is a phase 4. They're just not in here.
Yeah, it's just not.
We can add that and start having those conversations.
Do we
Yes.
need to add that on the docket tonight or what?
If the motion is made as such and seconded and approved, then that's the end of it.
Cortez, do you have any questions? I just want to emphasize, so the cost for this based on the bid for construction is 1.87 million?
1.187, that's
Mhm.
correct. And that's
And then
based
so
off of
the total estimated cost is 20 million, which comes from Fund 41, and this is for phase 2 and 3.
that's
right?
correct.
So if we're going to incorporate phase 4, then that's a added cost to this.
That is correct.
Cost to be determined.
Right, TBD.
Yeah, so then we would need to know cost to be determined. Okay, thank you. I now entertain a motion and a second to approve item 13A1. Please state your name and when you make a motion and second the motion.
It's trustee Seibert. I move to approve 13A1 and to add on phase 4 as part of this agreement.
Cost to be determined.
And the cost to be
Cost to be
determined.
determined. Yeah.
Trustee
Do I have
Ahmad,
a second
second.
by, do I have a second by now trustee?
Trustee Ahmad, second.
Thank you. It has been moved by trustee Seibert and second by trustee Ahmad to approve item number 13A with the adjustment, I guess, of phase 4 and the cost to be determined. Ms. Elizondo, please pull the board.
Trustee Guillen,
Yes.
trustee Santos,
Yes.
trustee Ahmad,
Yes.
trustee Dybert,
Yes.
trustee Fleek,
Yes.
trustee Seibert,
Yes.
clerk Cortez,
Yes.
and President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar, I counted 8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent. 2 of the 8 votes were preferential.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Now we move to item 13A2, request approval of agreement between Castellina Development and Madera Unified School District. Superintendent Lyle?
President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, members of the board, we have Deputy Superintendent Schwartz here for this item, and it is a really interesting one and unique for us.
So good evening, President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, and trustees, and I thank you for the great dialogue on the last item. This evening, let me give you a little bit background. I wasn't going to do a PowerPoint, and then I thought, yeah, let's maybe would be beneficial. So let me start by saying it was probably about 4 years ago, Rosalind and I were approached by Pembroke Development to discuss a new development that they were calling Castellina. Pembroke, I believe, is the developer that did the Pheasant Run, the development around Pheasant Run in Chowchilla, and they have another development there that they're working on in Chowchilla, as well as some more further north. And through our discussions over the last 3 to 4 years with the Castellina group, They came to an agreement to donate 15-acre parcel of land for the future development of an elementary school, whether that's a K-6, K-8. That's for the board to determine if they get to that point. And so this evening, the item before you tonight is the culmination of those discussions and a lot of lawyer revisions. Lozano Smith, our attorneys, have vetted this numerous times, and as well as their attorneys. And this has resulted in an agreement that provides the developer with the assurances that they wanted, which is essentially that if Madera Unified School District were to accept the donated property, that a school would be built on it, that the district wouldn't use it for another purpose, while ultimately allowing the district to choose at a future date that's more appropriate whether or not they actually want that property to build a school on. And it gives us the flexibility to decide then, yes, we do want to accept the donated property to build a school, or no, we don't. While also allowing the school district to collect developer impact fees. Also, the agreement ensures that the district will not need to build off-site infrastructure. And it allows the district time to secure the necessary future funding that we would need to build that school. So let me just kind of run through this PowerPoint real quickly.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Let's you talk about that offsite construction or what, offsite, what were you talking about?
So the
Infrastructure.
agreement essentially assures that the district is not going to have to put in sewer lines or water lines. A lot of times, right, we'll buy property and that the infrastructure is not there, and so we have to go in and build it. Yeah, and at this case, I'll get more into detail, but essentially, if we accept this property, we don't have to start building a school on it until that infrastructure is right there next to the school. So all we have to do is tie in. If we wanted to, we could put it in and we could have some reimbursement agreements with whoever's going to be the home builder out there. But that would be up to the board to decide. We wouldn't have to. So a little background information, just to try to make sure everybody's up to speed on this. So the proposed project site for Castellina is an area, here's Avenue 17. So it's north of Avenue 17, and it's between Road 27 and, well, Lake Street, which turns into 27, and 28 and a half. So Berinda Schools right up here, northwest of the proposed project site. And so it's right here on the east side of the railroad tracks as well.
Just to the right, when you're going down the ramp.
Yeah, so if you're going over that new overpass there, it's just right there to the right side.
And it goes clear across to 28 and a half.
So it encompasses 794 total acres. It's a mixed-use community. 21 acres of it are for being designated for commercial use. 132 acres of parks, playfields, trails, plazas. At full build out, they're anticipating 2,670 residential units with 402 active adult units. So they're planning an active adult community in this area. And then the goal is to complete the build over the next 15 to 18 years. So here's kind of the current site plan. So 17's down here. You would come up Road 27 once you come over that overpass, and then you would enter the project up here on the north west side. Have a promenade coming in, and then park area. This is the designated school piece of property. So you can see town center. I'll start referencing phase 1 in a few moments, and that's this area right here to the northwest of the elementary school.
Are they going to have water wells And
It's a great question. I'm not 100% certain on all where the water's coming from, and I suspected that Trustee Seibert was going to ask me about that. I can tell you that in phase one, they're going to be building some facilities here for wastewater treatment. Superintendent Lyle remembers some conversations with Purple Pipe. I'm not certain how extensive the Purple Pipe project is there, but I know they're building their own wastewater treatment plant. I know that they had, yeah, I know, whoa, down in, let's see if I can get back here fast enough. Just trying to hit the pointer. Now it's going slow, backwards. I know down in this area along the railroad tracks, they were going to have areas to collect storm runoff to try to let that kind of percolate down into the water tables out there. So they were going to try to collect any type of runoff. But I do believe that they were planning on pumping water as well.
It's gonna be sort of like Mission DeSoto, they have their own wells and.
I think it's a
facilities.
combo of
Yeah.
all of those things.
Yeah.
So that phase one in that northwest portion of the project consists of 50 very low density residential units and 67 low density residential units. Open space, multi-use area, a park in the wastewater treatment plant. They anticipated starting on that in 24, late 24, 25. And there's a reason why I included that here and it's on this next slide. So the agreement, kind of the details of this agreement. Developer impact fees will be paid at the established rate at the time each permit is pulled. So whatever the established developer fees are, the home builders or the developers who are pulling the permits will be paying those fees just like everyone else. The project area is still subject to any district-wide tax or assessment. So any bonds that are passed, GO bonds, or they'll be assessed. So they're not being treated any differently. I think a lot of times when these agreements come forward, there's stipulations in there that, hey, we're capping what the developer fees are, or they're not going to be assessed to future GO bonds or things like that. That's not the case here. They will not be treated any differently than any other building permit pool. Castellina will offer to donate a 15-acre parcel to MUSD to construct a future school. And at the time, the district may accept or reject the offer of the property. So if accepted, the district must build a school on that property. And if we fail to do so, we'll have to provide that property back to the developer, and they can parcel it out and build homes on it or use it for whatever they want.
is that enough to build a K-8 school, the 50 acre?
It probably is a little tight. Most of our K-6 schools are between 12 and 15. Our biggest K-6 school, just for reference, is Pershing. It's almost 17 acres, but that's a big site. I know the King Hussein facility, because we have it, we're utilizing almost 20. Yeah, I think it's close to 20. So it's a conversation that I think Rosalind and I would like to have with the developer too, is to see if we can get another couple of acres if in light of the current direction of the board has been K-8s. And we're not making that decision tonight, but in light of, hey, that's kind of the route that we're going. And if we're going to put a K-8 here, we're probably going to need another 2 acres. The good news is there's a lot of park space and area around there. If I go back, let me see if I can go back fast enough. One of the things that may be unique to this facility, if it ever was built, is joint use. So you see all this park space right next to, adjacent to the school. They're planning on building a baseball or softball complex, soccer fields. So we might be able to have a joint use and not have to have as much field space here on this parcel to be able to utilize those fields right across the street.
Thank you.
Back to where I was.
One thing, what it says about low density residentials, that means the lots are bigger. They're not like Riverstone where the lots are
Right.
smaller.
Yeah. So this is a combination, and I'm not super familiar with the lot maps. But yes, there's a combination here of high density all the way to, I believe that those first phases are the only ones that are very low density and low density. Okay, so the irrevocable offer of school site dedication. So that's contingent on the Castellina Group getting approval by the county and all the entities with jurisdiction of the project of all the entitlements necessary to develop the area. So once they get all of that, and two, once they complete all of the backbone infrastructure improvements for phase one of the development, so they get that wastewater treatment plant built, the water lines in phase one, the sewer lines. When that happens, then they will come back to the school district and say, okay, we're going to offer you this piece of property for the school. And so at that time, the district has until all of the building permits for that first phase have been issued to accept the offer for the school site. So we'll have a while to do our due diligence. We'll probably have a lot of discussions on, is this the right location for a school? We can get soil samples, get CDE to look at it to see if they would approve the site. And so once all of the building permits have been pulled and paid for, then the district will have to provide notice of acceptance to a board resolution or just reject the offer. The district will then be provided access to the proposed site during that period, and title will pass to the district within 1 year of the board's acceptance. So we've got 1 year after we accept it to take title of the property. We can take it as fast as we want or as slow as we want. It's contingent on us. Okay, the district is responsible for all of the on-site improvements and connections to the off-site infrastructure. So all the hookups we're responsible for. Believe me, Rosalind and I talked to them about, hey, what about developer-built schools? And they weren't interested. But the district may wait to build the school until all the off-site infrastructure is built up right next to the school. So we can accept title to the property, but we don't have to, we're not required to do anything until all of those off-site infrastructures there. And then, like I mentioned earlier, we may build the off-site infrastructure and be reimbursed by the developers through agreements. So school construction, and this is why I kept talking about, okay, we have this much time and this much time. In this agreement, they're asking that the district would have 5 years from the transfer of the title to substantially complete the campus. And when they think about substantially, they think about 80% of the campus completed. And that's the expectation. And if we weren't able to do that, we'd have to go back to them and work with them additional time to complete and construct the school. And so that would really, I think that they'd be, if we started a campus and we're dedicated to it, they're going to be able to work with us. They want a school like this in their development. It only adds value to what they're trying to do. But what it would do is it would require us to kind of provide them updates on our plans and timelines, and they'd be more involved. We could get extended timelines without their approval. until the completion of the offsite infrastructure is put in, like I keep mentioning. If we get any delays in school approvals through DSA, or we run into any environmental issues, those types of things, they would just push back that 5-year window, or lack of funding to build the school. If the district and the board says we don't have the funds to build it, that pushes that 5-year window's pushed back. So I think that might be it. It is. So any questions? Obviously I'm not the expert on the development, but I can tell you kind of what's in the agreement and what was discussed and what we're trying to accomplish with it.
Thank you. I now open this item for public comment. Mrs. Elizondo?
If you wish to address the board, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. President Salazar, we do not have participants who wish to address the board at this time, and we do not have any comments submitted in writing for this portion of the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Seeing no one or no others come forward, I close public comment. Trustees, do you have any questions for staff? I will start with trustee Guillen.
No.
Trustee Santos,
No.
trustee Ahmad.
No.
Trustee Dybert,
Curiosity, I'm not familiar with all of this. So would the school be the selling point when they build their houses? Pretty sure, right?
I'm sure it would be, based off of our track record and what our newly constructed schools are. They're definitely a draw. I think it would be a selling point.
And then what is active adult units? What is that?
So yeah,
That's okay.
they're senior communities where
Okay.
they wouldn't generate any students in those homes, because I believe there's requirements on age to be able to purchase and live in them. I know Arizona has quite a few of these.
Yeah.
A lot of times they're on golf courses.
I think my mom and stepdad are considered active seniors. Is that right? I mean, that's active. What is it? Active living?
Active living.
I
They
guess they're
usually
active
have
livers. I
golf
don't know.
courses and community centers for
That's what
our
I thought. So
seniors
that's what I
to
was
be
wondering
active and
if
yeah.
that was a part of it. Okay, thank you.
None, thank you.
trustee Seibert,
Yes, I got them. First of all, that area is not in a water district, right?
I believe that is, what's that water district that's out there?
I don't think they're in MID or anything.
No, they're not in MID.
Not in a water district.
Where do they get that water out there though?
Well,
Madera Valley Water is a country
Yeah, it
club.
might be,
That's Madera Valley Water does country club, but not all of it.
but they may not be
Yeah,
on the
they
other
may not
side
be in it.
of Lake.
yeah.
There's
So
their wells, their personal wells.
so that's considered land in the white area, which is governed by CEQA. So what they're doing today, you gotta pay $246 an acre tax on that land if you're pumping water. And that's above everything else that they've ever paid on it. And you only get to pump 28 inches of water. Or if you go over that, then the price goes way up.
Right.
Higher charge you. So you're in a limited water area, and the 28 inches that they say you can pump today, they're gonna be keep dropping that. So they want a sustainable water level. They don't want the water level going down. So my concern is, I don't know why the county's letting them put schools in areas where there's no irrigation district where they do any recharge or get water for a community. Like the Ranchos or this project. I mean, it's a good looking project. I mean, what their thoughts and what they're trying to do is, it looks really good, but so that the water deal already concerns me. We don't want to put a school someplace where we're not gonna have enough water, so that's something we need to look into. And if they want us to build that school, once they finish the first phase, I don't know, I don't know how many students we'll have in that area by the time we get a school built.
Yeah, I ran the numbers based off our current yields. Phase one will only produce something like 150 students. But at full build out, you're looking at about 800 to 850 elementary kids, in the 200s for middle school, and 400 high school students.
Okay, and the other concern is our bonding capacity, and if we're going to get state reimbursements, if we don't have the capacity, I mean, if we got enough students in school, they're not going to reimburse us for building a school. That's what you told me before, is, you know,
Yeah,
we could build a
so
school, but we're not going to get any money from the state because we've got enough classrooms.
that's
So I don't want to get in a position where we're trying to build a school there and we're not going to get reimbursed from the state if we have state matching funds.
Yeah, no, what you're referring to is the available capacity in all of our other school sites, the seats available. And the state will reimburse us if we have more kids than we have seats available. And right now, we're really, I mean, Rosalind keeps that data. We're pretty much square with the, believe it or not, the number of kids we have and the capacity we have. Where this would really come into play is when new developments come in and they're generating new kids. That creates the need for capacity. And that's where we would then be able to go ahead and collect matching funds from the state. But it would be really because of the new kids that would be generated because of the new rooftops.
Yeah, so that's, my concern is that we don't position where we're trying to build a school over there and we don't have matching.
Yeah.
So that's all my questions. Thank you.
Yeah, and this isn't, we're not allocating our current bond allocation that we have for this site or anything like that. Yeah, this is just an agreement put in place that they're saying, we want to donate this property, take it if you want it, leave it if you don't.
I mean, I like that. That's good. You know, that's good business for them and for us. But one of my big concerns today is water. Because I'm a farmer and
Right.
I sold most of my land because I was outside the water district. I had a really good operation going, but I seen what was coming. And today, I wouldn't buy that land that I sold with the situation that's going on. So I don't want us in a school district to get in a position where we've got schools where we don't have surface water available to recharge and use if we need the water.
Makes 100% sense.
Clerk Cortez?
So as far as the CEQA and how that relates to the water issue that trustee Seibert just brought up, can you expand a little bit on that? I know you asked the developer if they were in and they said that they're not in the business of building schools, but I mean, is there any negotiation there, potential negotiation there with as far as the water?
For the
issue?
water?
Yes. Or is that
I don't
something-
know if we will ever negotiate for the water. I know that, you know, the developers have to go through a CEQA process and an EIR process and get those prior approvals prior to moving the project forward. I think what trustee Seibert is alluding to is if we're not in a water district, we're going to have to rely on pumping ourselves. And if there's water shortages out there, there's a concern that we're not going to be able to pump. I don't know if a CEQA process would identify that, you know, when we were going through that process.
There's a lot of homes in that area on that side of the tracks, just south of there, within a quarter mile. People are running out of water.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy worked for me, he ran out of water and
Having
he
to-
was in such a position, he couldn't get help from the city, he couldn't get help from the county. They wouldn't let him drill a new well. I had to help him out. And We went and drilled through the well that area had, we went down a little deeper, but, I mean, the people there are running out of water, so, I'm a guy that's real concerned about water.
Right. And I think the board at the time that the offer is made, I think that's definitely appropriate to have that discussion at that time. And I anticipate it will probably be 2 to 3 years from now.
Are you done, Mr. Cortez? Yes. So I have a couple of concerns, like trustee Cypress is the water. I know Madera Valley Water, what, a couple of years ago, built a big well, dug a big well. It just seems that the water fur, we're gonna have a bunch of straws dipping into the same water fur in that community. We have all these houses. We have Country Club, which has most of our students from Berinda. I don't like the idea that this school is gonna be so close to Berinda. We have a lot of, our constituents out there, our shareholders out there. And then those things, and then, like you said, we can go ahead and see now what agreement with them. And then when we get there, like literally cross that bridge, of the water and those kind of intakes, because if we don't do it, they're going to approach the county to do it. Because if they're going to build this development, they're going to bring that school because that is their focus point, the school and the parks. That's what's going to be there. That's going to drive the community there. I do like the idea that some of these are low density, which means the lots are bigger. But then that's more water too, to maintain those lots. So there's different things, different questions that I have on this, but thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so now I entertain, excuse me. Yeah, I now entertain a motion a motion and a second to approve item 13A2. Please state your name and when you make the motion and second the motion. Do I have a motion to entertain to approve this, or do we not want to approve it?
What is that? I see there's agreement. So the agreement is going to be with Castellina Development and Madera Unified to develop or to,
No.
okay.
Which is approximately 15 acres.
So that, I mean, is at this point, we're just going to accept it or not? If we accept it, then we still have a time at 3 years, 4 years, and then whether if that time it makes sense to continue, we'll continue. If not, then we can back out, right?
No, I think we need to pass this tonight, but, before we build a school out there, I hope, things change in the political environment and we can, get water. Right now, I got water running past my house. It's just going out of the ocean. We got no place to store it.
Yeah.
Well, if we could store it, then when we need water, right now, even the ground's pretty much saturated, most of the land. If we could store it, then we start, building our water table back up.
Yeah, let it percolate to the water first.
But the state never wants to do that. We pass a bond and then they don't build nothing. And then things become 2 or 3 times more expensive now than when they passed the bond to build dams. So, I mean, hope the environment changes so that, they can build homes out there and they'll have water and we'll have more water for, recharging underground. But if it don't happen, we might not be able to build a school out there. But I think we ought to, I'll move to approve this agreement on item number 13A2.
Do I have a second?
Trustee Ahmad, second.
Thank you. It has been moved by trustee Seibert and second by trustee Ahmad to approve item 13A2. Ms. Elizondo, please pull the board.
Trustee Guillen. Trustee Santos.
Yes.
Trustee Ahmad.
Yes.
Trustee Dybert. Trustee Fleek.
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Seibert.
Yes.
Clerk Cortez.
Yes.
And President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar, I counted 8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, 1 absent. 2 of the 8 votes were preferential.
Thank you, Mrs. Elizondo. Down to the stretch, people. Item number 13B1, Fiscal Services, request approval 2023-24 proposal, core staffing, Superintendent Lyle.
President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, members of the board, and all of our fans out there riveted in Zoom land. This is our proposed core staffing for the coming year, but there are also some positions that we'd like to work through this very spring. Ms. Garcia and Mr. Aiello have been working really hard on this with our executive cabinet, but they've been trying to dial in all the details. I'd like to also remind you that this proposal is simply for the budgeting. Every single one of these proposed new positions still has to come to the board for approval, one position at a time, the job description and the allocation. Otherwise, if it's a position that has already existed, then by approving this, then you'd be giving us the opportunity to fill those positions. I hope I said that accurately, Aurelis, and not in too many words. Ms. Garcia, you're on.
Thank you. President Salazar, Clerk Cortez, and trustees, tonight we're gonna review the proposed core staffing, and this is for 23-24 fiscal year. And I would like to thank the superintendent, executive cabinet, and also all the directors, because they have took the time to really review all the positions that we currently have. It's a process that I don't know if it has been done before, but we look at all the vacancies as you will see in the presentation, or in the paperwork that you have, we are closing positions that we're not able to fill, and we're opening positions that we're thinking that will be more effective and they will provide better service to our students. So next slide. So our proposed core staffing, we are having 96 new positions. This is a total estimate of $10.6 million. We have 6 new positions in management, 55 new positions certificated, and 35 new positions classified. At the same time, we're closing 91 positions, and that is a savings of $5.3 million. We have 18 positions certificated and 73 in the classified. So we're gonna review that more in detail. So the next slide. So here are the management positions. The cost, estimated cost is $987,000. And we're funding those with local control funding formula. The expanded learning opportunities programs, as Assistant Superintendent Cheryl mentioned it earlier, we're having a hard time to spend these funds. And also we're gonna be using some of the Learning Recovery Emergency Grant. I wanna remind the board that we have $38 million for this grant, and we have until 2028 to use them. So from these positions, only one position counts against our admin teacher ratio, and that is the Assistant Superintendent of School Leadership. We have the availability to absorb that position without going over our admin teacher ratio.
Ms. Garcia, I'd like to just interject really quickly and remind the board that some critique that we have received from you all is to be mindful of how many programs have expanded and so quickly in the last 2 years since we've been back from the pandemic, and that you're really concerned. And I just want you to know we've listened, that you've been very concerned that we've been burning the candle on both ends with lots of members of the executive cabinet team. So this is part of a restructuring, which we think creates a little bit better coherence and focus for certain leaders in SEC and gives them an opportunity to really focus on the board's goal of 80% of our students achieving their best growth target by 2025. And we think this gives us the opportunity to also really start developing, as you'll see, the board's vision on a community that has all these expanded opportunities for students at no cost. So a whole lot of connectivity on the co-curricular side.
Okay, one more thing before we move from here. We have the SEC lead, so it's the Superintendent Executive Cabinet Lead. And if you have questions on any specific position, they will be able to help me answer questions. And the effective date, I highlighted some of the dates because we want to recruit as soon as possible. Some of these positions are very critical that we have them in place when we need them. And so that's why the effective date is earlier than July 1st. Next slide. So for certificated new positions, we have 55 new positions. The estimated cost, $6.2 million, and we're funding them with LCFF, ELOP, oh no, not ELOP here, Learning Recovery Emergency Block, Proposition 28. The board remembers Proposition 28 is that it was passed by voters in November. We're gonna start receiving those funds in 23-24. And we have other grants. And so on the other grants, you will see them listed in the fund and source column, and you will see it in the next slides. So here is a portion of the certificated new positions. None of them we have effective earlier than July 1st. Next slide. And that is the rest of certificated positions. Some of them, like the superintendent mentioned, we have to still develop the job description. So it's going to take a while to get them to recruit for those positions. Okay, next slide. So classified new positions, we have 35 new positions. The estimated cost, $3.5 million. We're using LCFF, ELOP, LREB, and Proposition 28 and other grants. And there is the list. And as you can see, we have some that are effective date as soon as possible, so we can start the recruitment process. Right. That is the rest of the classified. So the closing positions, in summary, this we are closing 91 positions, cost savings of $5.3 million. And those positions were funded with local control funding formula, educator effectiveness grant, COVID relief funds, special education, and other funds. I want to clarify that those 91 positions are vacant positions. So no employees are going to be affected by closing these positions. Because remember that in the budget, even though the positions are vacant, we still have to budget for them. Yes, that's what I mean. So next slide. And those are the positions that we're closing. And we're making them effective as soon, like tomorrow. So that way, when we do the second interim update, those positions are not going to be in our budget, and that money is going to go down to our ending balance, and we can start accounting in our savings. And so the summary of the fiscal impact is $5.3 million in local control funding formula, $1.6 million, the ELOP, $537,000. Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, $1.3 million. In Proposition 28, $3.1 million. And other grants, we have all these different grants that we are closing positions. So that's why you see a negative $1.2 million. That's it. Do you have any questions? I'll be happy to answer.
If you wish to address the board, click on the reactions icon located at the bottom of your screen. In the reactions window, click on the raise hand button and wait for your name to be called. We will allow speakers from the audience to address the board in the order they appear on our screen. Comments provided via email will be read after the live comments. President Salazar, we do not have participants who wish to address the board at this time, and we do not have any comments submitted in writing for this portion of the meeting.
Thank you, Mrs. Elizondo. Seeing no one and no others come forward, I close public comment. Trustees, do you have any questions for staff? I will start with trustee Guillen,
No.
trustee Santos,
No.
trustee Ahmad,
No.
trustee Ahmad,
No.
trustee Dybert.
Yes, so I understand. On the closing positions, those positions were created once and budget was sort of frozen or aside for that, but they were never used, right, those positions? Because,
Some of them, like, for example, paraprofessionals, we have 3.5-hour positions that were created a long time ago that now the need is more for a full-time position or 6-hour position. So they've been vacant for a while and we cannot find employees. They, if you have an opening for a 6-hour position in a 3.5, employees are gonna go for the
Okay.
6-hour position, not the 3.5. We also have some positions that are the office assistants that we opened when COVID was here. We opened 30 of them. We have 9 field positions that we're still keeping, but we're closing all the vacancies. There is 20 of them.
how about the psychologist? There are 2.
Yes,
you're
we meet
closing?
with Director Mahoney, and she counted for all the positions that she had, and that she said that she had enough positions filled, and only she wanted to keep 2 vacancies instead of 5 that she had.
Okay.
And those were they were funded with COVID funds, so
Oh.
the funding was going to expire anyways in next year.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Trustee Dybert. Trustee Fleet,
No questions?
trustee Seibert, clerk Cortez.
No questions.
I already asked my question, so thank you. I now entertain a motion and a second to approve item 13B1. Please state your name when you make a motion and second the motion. Trustees, I need a motion to approve.
Trustee Ahmad make a motion. 13B1.
Thank you. A second motion.
Trustee Fleek, all second.
Thank you. It has been moved by trustee Ahmad and second by trustee Fleek to approve the 2023 proposed core staffing. Ms. Elizondo, please pull the board.
Trustee Guillen. Trustee Santos. Trustee Ahmad.
Yes.
Trustee Dybert.
Yes.
Trustee Fleek.
Yes.
Trustee Seibert.
Yes.
Clerk Cortez.
Yes.
And President Salazar.
Yes.
President Salazar, I counted 8 ayes, 0 nays, 0 abstentions, and 1 absent. 2 of the 8 votes were preferential.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo. Now I move to item 14, announcements. Superintendent Lau, do you have any announcements for the board?
Just 3 short ones. The Madera FFA Alumni Dinner Dance is coming up on Saturday, January 28th, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. at the Encore Event Center. And it is honestly one of the best nights of the year. If you have an opportunity to attend, please do. The Madera County Academic Decathlon Super Quiz and Awards will take place on Saturday, February 4th at Madera South High School, and they are proud to host that and have been competing at a very high level in the last several years. And mock trial will take place on February 8th through February 16th. And please contact our office if you'd like to be a part and see any of that in action. Madera County Superintendent of Schools does a really fine job with both academic decathlon and mock trial.
Thank you, Superintendent Lau. Item 15A, miscellaneous member committees and information reports. Trustees, this is the opportunity for you to provide your fellow board members with updates on reports from committee meetings and events you have attended. I will start with trustee Ahmad.
Nothing to report at this time.
Nothing? Okay. Trustee Dybert?
Sorry, I was a little bit busy the last 2 weeks. On January 10, I attended the Student Champion Course #2 at Madera South High School, and I want to also commend Director Diorian for a well put together event along with her staff. I enjoyed the general sessions and the breakout sessions as well. I had a chance to talk to the student board members and discuss the breakout topics. I spoke with Superintendent Lyle about the film presented, if it could be shared with our students and our parents, but I understand that we cannot do that at this time. But I was thinking that that would be a good way to expand and see what our own students could, have gone. Let me see. On January 11, I visited John Adams School, not as a board member, but as a parent. My granddaughter, some of you know, is here from Panama. So she was going to stay for about 3 weeks with me. And I said, what am I going to do with her at home? So I enrolled her at John Adams because it's my neighborhood school. And it was so good for me to experience the parent side of it, enrolling a child, using the Aries. It was so easy for me because I know how to use computers. But the staff at the school told me if there was a parent who would come, didn't have that knowledge of computers, they will help them, walk and navigate all of that. She was well welcome in 3rd grade, and all the kids knew who she was. And I really enjoy, and I'm glad that I experienced that. So in case that my constituents ask me how that is. Let me see. I also, on January 12th, I attended the CSBA orientation for new trustees, and this was put by CSBA for those trustees who were not able to attend the session at the conference in San Diego. It was very helpful and informative for new trustees like me. Let me see. I also visited some of the schools in Area 2, Madera South High School, Furman High School, Furman Elementary, and Alpha Elementary. I still need to do my official visit at John Adams. Today and tomorrow, I am attending the CSBA Institute for new and first-term board members. The training goes into a deep understanding of board roles and responsibilities, and I'm very intense.
Thank you.
Yesterday, sorry, I was busy. I attended the DLAC meeting, and it was my first time I attended a board advisory committee meeting. I was very happy to see the opportunities the members in attendance were given. The group worked on goals 1, 2, and 3 of the LCAP, and they provided their input and their priorities they thought the district administration should focus on. I want to commend the staff for facilitating the meeting, especially to Director Ochoa, who provided the translation during the whole meeting to the DLAC members. The members were very well engaged in the discussion of the topics presented, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Just remember, you guys, it's already after 9, so. Trustee Fleek.
I timed mine. It's less than 2 minutes. The active shooter training at Matilda Torres High School was very realistic and informative, and it's good that we keep working to make things safe for everyone. Our Student Champion Day 2 will keep us thinking and caring about our students and families. At MLK Middle School, the Martin Luther King celebration had outstanding speakers. The 3 student speakers were very passionate. One little girl pounded the podium. Our very own Rhonda Vaughn talked about living the realities of today, and Executive Director Marshall led us into the possibilities of tomorrow. The Madera High School basketball team had a tough time with San Joaquin Memorial. It was disappointing that so few people were in attendance. There were like 20 people on each side. It was kind of sad. It would be great if, more of us could get out and support our students in their activities and sporting events. Sunday, Madera South High School welcomed the WASC team to Madera, They were entertained by South VAPA students. The Western Association of Schools and Colleges, WASC, is an accrediting commission for schools. Yesterday at the Joint Powers Authority meeting, we are still all working to make everyone proud of our students and make Madera beautiful, much nicer place to live. This includes in the Joint Powers is Madera Unified School District, the County Board of Supervisors, Madera County Arts Council, and Madera City Council. And I was elected vice chairman of the Board of Directors. And after listening to the audit presentation earlier, I'd like to thank CFO Garcia and her staff for taking such a good good care of our finances. I'm a treasurer for our tribe and I just have very little money and it's a lot of work and you have to keep everything going. So I'm really impressed that you can do our whole district. Thank you and your staff.
Thank you, trustee Fleek. Trustee Seibert?
No, I don't have any.
Okay. Clerk Cortez?
Nothing to report.
As myself too, I attended the Student Champion on the 10th of January. And the breakout sessions are good because you learn depending on what the subject we're talking about. But these students presented from Oaxaca, their family trip back to where their parents grew up at and everything. They brought that back and that adventure they shared in this video, which was very informative. I made you kind of put a mirror to yourself of what we grew up with and sharing with the different sessions we had. I think we need to mix it up more with our staff. They were sitting way back there and I think we need to mix it more, but it was good. And then yesterday I attended the the DLAC meeting, and those parents are very involved and they learned a lot from the LCAP. They learned a lot about the different goals. And so they're very committed. And I think it'd be good to get I forgot to mention this as Super Assistant Sissel, maybe getting some of their feedback as well for the ELP from these two parent advisory committees from DLAC and PAC. Maybe some input from them. They might have some knowledge that we don't know about from the community, since we need some kind of community partners. Other than that, that's it. Any other trustees? Suggested future agenda items? Trustees, do you have any items you would like staff to present in a future board meeting? I will start with trustee Ahmad.
No.
Trustee Dybert,
Not at this time.
trustee Fleek,
At all. I'd like to see some report on esports.
I think we've asked that before. Trustee Seibert,
Yes, I'd like to see us have a 5 to 10 year facility plan and some approvals of what we're going to do. I mean, like I said earlier, we've had discussions before and presentations, but we've never made any decisions.
okay, so our next facility committee meeting, you want to bring that up then? Or you want it sooner
If
than
we
that?
need a workshop or district staff to bring forward what they think is the facility plan. I don't know if we need a workshop or not, but within the next 2 or 3 months, I think we need to make some
Okay.
decisions.
Okay, thank you. Clerk Cortez?
Yes, so I'd like a report on the, I know we've hired quite a few literacy and reading specialists and coaches, and I see here on the certificated positions, core staffing that we just approved that we're approving some more positions in that area. So I'd like a report on, what's going on with the existing ones that we've hired, how that's being aligned to the district goal that we adopted, and how these 5 new ones that we approved are going to be deployed.
Thank you. As for myself, I'm working on a governance workshop. And some of the items that I would like us to address are some of the items our trustees have addressed today. So hopefully we'll get the workshops going. It might be more than just one workshop. It'll be the governance team, and then We'll bring in Superintendent Lyle and then with the executive staff. But is to kind of have a governance calendar to go with our goal setting and our literacy, academic, athletics, with everything, facilities, and all those key points that we have different concerns with. But I thank you guys and that's it for myself for now. And right now, meeting adjourned and it's 9:58. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.